All right. So this is Brian Pino, the man, the myth, the legend. I've known him for a very short time, but I think I know enough to introduce him at least.
Very short time. Oh yeah, for like 2 years, huh?
Yeah, it's not that long.
Yeah,
You're
two
pretty
years.
fresh.
Yeah.
Because remember when you came to church, like I even then I didn't talk to any of you guys for the longest time. It wasn't until like that camping trip that we that I got more social with everyone there. Even now,
But I remember you approached me before one time, like before we started talking.
okay, first of all, I approached nobody. You must have been in the way of
No,
somewhere I was going.
no, I was standing right there alone, and I see you walk up to me. I was like, and I was pretty moody back then. I was in the best mood during that time. So I was like, oh damn, he wants to talk. And then you came to me. She's like, so what do you know about me?
Go on. It's an interesting
Yeah, you're like,
story.
so what do you know about me? And then you freaking and I told you, I'm like, I just know you're Sochi's cousin. That's it. And then Pablo came, and then you just started talking to him.
I don't remember that at all, but interesting if true.
It's true, Michael. Come on.
But that sounds about right. Yeah, because I was trying to keep a low profile back then, so I was just checking up to see what the everyday brother had heard. That's what when you said all you knew, I imagine, right, that when you said that all you knew about me was that I'm Sochi's cousin. In my head, I'm like, good. So so I was like, moving on. I'm not gonna divulge anything else. So far, so good. You know that I wanted to move myself from the public consciousness to go from man to just a myth. So when they see me, it's like, it's that guy. I thought he was real. I didn't think he was real. I thought he was like Santa Claus or something. You know, like you hear stories about him, but you never see him.
All right, then, Michael. So, do you have your questions lined up? Like, do you have it written on a piece of
Oh,
paper?
of course. I mean, not
Of
on a piece of
course.
paper, but I do have a format.
So
So
I'm here to bring life to Michael's dying podcast. Hasn't
dying,
started, but it's already dying.
dying on the first episode.
Yeah.
Well, that's how you know I'm off to a good start. If I can survive a rough start, then I can survive a rough continuation. No, but the real question is, I think right now, what are your thoughts on the riots?
I mean, that's brought some change to it. Like, if you notice, like, if the riots didn't happen, I don't think those cops would have been arrested because they just got fired at first.
Yeah, and they were going to charge them with third degree murder, which
That
basically means that it was an accident.
yeah. So like the riots did help, I think, but what I do disagree about is just like the building, like destroying businesses and cars.
The looting.
Yeah, like I don't think that's necessary.
All right, let me ask you this: if you were walking past an Apple store that had just been looted, and someone drops some AirPod Pros, what do you do? Do you leave them there? You pick them up? You go like, "Hey, sir, you dropped this," or do you quietly put them into your sweater, keep walking? Someone's looking
Um,
at you. You just tell them you saw nothing.
I'll quietly put them on my sweater and keep. No, actually, I'll go in the store. I'll go in the store and take everything, take more.
But you can't take the phones though. Like you saw what was happening, right? Like they're getting messages like return the like they know what store they're stolen from. Like you can't use them. It says return to such and such store.
I'll find a way. I'll find a way.
Maybe.
Are there like chips on there?
Somewhat.
There's like chips in there.
Yeah, all the phones have, every phone that's ever made has GPS. Like your phone
Yeah.
has GPS. Yeah.
So that like they can tell like, oh, that one wouldn't belong to this store.
Oh, no. Well, no. That's just shipping. Like every iPhone,
Oh.
like serial numbers and stuff like that, activation keys.
No, honestly, I don't think I would take anything. I feel I'd be like too maybe it's too like germophobic, especially with coronavirus. Like, I don't know, probably people like touch it and stuff. So yeah.
Interesting. Uh, yeah, that makes sense. I don't blame you. I mean, personally, uh, I would have been. I would have done the scumbag thing. I would have taken a pair and then sold them to buy some Pixel Buds. Because at the same time, I don't want to pick. I don't want to keep them. Yeah,
Mm.
like I don't want. I don't want to be uh, walking around with stolen merchandise, but I don't mind using money taken from stolen merchandise. Because at the end of the day, like it is Apple. It's not like I'm taking from like like a locally owned store or something like that. It's like, yeah, I'm going to feel bad for stealing from like the one of the world's biggest like multi-million-dollar companies. Yeah, okay, yeah, no, I'm sure they feel bad too, like when I can't afford their like expensive things.
Oh my
Um,
god.
well, I'm just saying. Mm.
So why aren't you out there protesting?
Oh, why am I not out there? I gotta work. I'm an essential worker.
Or on the weekends?
Yeah,
Weekends or Sundays
Sundays are the one days that I don't work, but I do have to go to Dominical. You know this.
after Dominica.
It's my only rest day. Like this
Afternoon.
this this last week, yeah. My check came out pretty beefy, and I worked straight through the week. Only took the break um, Sunday, so Monday through Saturday, and I haven't worked like that since I started. When I started working, it was full time like that, and then they hired more people. And then I finally got like some days off besides Sunday. And then I didn't tell you, it's like someone at work got sick. They
Oh,
couldn't
the
come in.
virus?
Well, they got tested and it came back negative. I guess it was
Oh,
an unrelated cold or flu or something. Because once you get sick with anything, you know what the protocol is, right?
yeah.
3 days without symptoms, regardless. So they came back Thursday, thankfully. So Thursday I got to chill. Went back to work Friday. Today I got it off again, and tomorrow, thankfully.
Were you nervous when like you finally got sick?
When my coworker got sick,
Yeah.
no, because
No.
no, I'm pretty careful. I wear gloves when I interact. I sanitize often. You know, those like sanitizing sprays.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I spray them in people's faces like before they start talking. It's like give me a like.
Wait. All right. You know the virus? Because like when you like let's say like you're in your house, but you've been outside. Let's say like you get it.
Mhm,
Like you went right outside and you get it. Like I'm not saying that's gonna happen, but like you get it
mhm.
and then you wash your hands. But you touch the sink in order to like turn it on. You wash your hands and then you turn it off, but you touch it again. Does that mean like you still have it?
Like, is it still active like that?
Yeah.
I guess it depends on the material. I think there's certain like metals, like I think copper. Or maybe I'm just talking. I'm not sure about the materials now that I mention it, but in regards to that, how else are you gonna like? Do you know how to wash your hands like a surgeon? You know, where you like turn it off and on with your elbows and like no contact except with the water.
Oh, they
Unless,
turn it off with their elbows?
yeah, because like once they sterilize their hands, they can't touch anything
Mm.
except the gloves that they have to put on. You know,
So how do they get like the soap?
the soap. What do you mean?
Yeah. So once they oh wait, all right, so
Yeah,
once
first
they
they
have
wash
it,
their hands. Yeah, once their hands are washed, like with soap and everything, like antiseptic soap and all that
mm,
good things, then they just walk around like this, put their gloves on carefully and get to work like the rest of us.
like so there was that like the closest, like not scared, but like the closest you've been like well actually it wasn't sick with the coronavirus,
Huh?
but like the closest you've been like to like
Someone getting sick? No,
yeah.
actually, I'd say my boss is probably the one that worries me the most because he works in he's the head of urgent care at a hospital. So he's like constantly dealing with sick people. On the plus side, he always hooks up like his clinic with like supplies. So like he gave me a box of face masks for me, and he gave me a box of gloves to take home. So that's always a plus.
Has has anyone came in but like I think I have the virus?
No. Um, you know what we have been seeing a lot though, surgeries.
Surgeries?
Yeah, like that has been like the main uh reason we see patients now. Like a lot of surgeries. Like everyone's trying to get back surgeries. Um, I don't know what's the deal. Maybe like I don't know if people are just getting into more accidents or now they have the time to get the surgeries. But yeah, we've seen a lot of like pre-op, people we have to check out to clear them for surgeries. That's all that I've noticed an increase in. Is not, I don't know. It's kind of weird. You know, do you still exercise? You said you were hitting the bag.
Yeah, I still
You still hit the bag?
I still I mostly try to do the speed bag.
Oh,
The
the one that you
Yeah,
just. Okay.
because like I can do it with one hand, but I'm trying to get it with both hands, and it's kind of hard because sometimes I hit it with the right hand, then I hit it with the left hand, but like I hit it a little bit harder with the left hand, and it's harder to like keep up with the right hand.
How long have you been doing that?
Huh?
How long have you been trying to get that down?
Get that down for like cause I stopped doing it for like a week,
Mm.
and then I kind of went back to it, and then it's like damn, it's kind of like been trying for like a month because when I first started on it, I was just hitting the bag, but I was just practicing one hand, and then like I went to it, and I tried to do this. I don't know if you've seen it, but they hit it with both hands, and it just goes like this is the ball, and it just goes like this repeatedly. I've tried to do that, but that's hard.
Okay.
So I have to do the 3-step thing,
What does
the
that
three bounce.
teach you? What's that supposed to help you sharpen?
I know that's not speed. I don't know why it's called speed bag, but I think something like coordination. I think.
Hmm. Interesting. Are you looking it up? What's it supposed to help you with?
Yeah.
Yeah, because working out is kind of, I don't know. I've been trying to see what to do besides jogging. Although something weird did happen on one jog, and it only happened once in my life. This has only happened once in my entire life. Uh, I was jogging, and there was this. I don't know if they were together, maybe they were brother and sister. I don't know, but it was a guy and a girl coming, towards me as I was jogging towards them, and the girl sees me. Like maybe she knew me, like maybe she recognized me. I don't know, but she she the guy that she was with was like right in my way, and she pushes him into like towards the street, like out of my way. And that was weird. I was like, on the one hand I would think that she would pull him, towards her or something like that, but no, it's just like you get out of his way. It's only ever happened once, but I was like, that's interesting. I
Did she
wonder.
look at you like,
Yeah, she
oh,
was. No, it was,
like,
but it was dark too. Like, because I usually go to jog when the sun goes down to avoid like too many people, precisely to avoid too many people and like the sun. Uh, but that was interesting. Yeah, like she. When someone looks at you with like an intense stare.
yeah.
Yeah, like I felt that like from her as I was passing by. No, it was dark, granted, but from what I could see, she was pretty hot, so I wasn't complaining. I wanted to stop. I wanted to stop. Like there was a part of me that was like, "Yo, turn around! Like, what are you doing?" But I didn't. I was like, "No, I'm just here for the jog. Like, I'm just trying to jog." I wonder, or maybe she thought she knew me. One of those things that where you look like someone else knows.
How long do you jog? Like, what's your like?
it's like 15 minutes, 40 minutes.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
I
it's
should start jogging.
over 3 miles. It's like 3.7. It's not. I should if I just ran a little more, it'd be 4 miles.
Yeah, I should start jogging. I need to,
Yeah,
especially since like
you
last
should, man.
neighborhood I wouldn't jog because I wouldn't feel safe in
Oh.
that neighborhood.
What about this
But
one?
now I do. Oh, you
Yeah,
know what
like
I found out about my old house?
what? How it
So they put
exploded?
they put the zip codes affected most like by the coronavirus
Mm,
with devs. And my zip code was there. The old zip
what the-
code where I lived at.
Your old one?
Yeah.
Damn.
I sound like
Imagine.
damn, moved on time.
Yeah, it's like who moved on? Damn. Yeah, for sure. Moved out on time because it's no joke. Like the coronavirus seems to be. At first, people thought like, oh, it really only kills like old people and anyone that has a pre-existing condition. But it's been killing some young people too. Like precisely like between 17 to like 28 years old, like in that super young 20s age, like dead with completely healthy, like no underlying conditions, no asthma, no COPD, just dead. It's kind of scary.
And I'm like, no.
It gets compared a lot to the Spanish flu because it did something kind of similar where it seemed to target like young people and kids and like it left older people alone for some reason. Like I think the theory was that they had some kind of immunity that they had gained previously. But you know what finally stopped the Spanish flu from killing?
What?
Guess. Guess you'll never guess. This one it was kind of scary too.
It's kind of scary.
Yeah, it's kind of scary.
So it wasn't no type of medicine.
Right.
Really?
Yeah.
What the heck? Staying home?
No.
What?
Nothing.
Oh, so it just went away?
Yeah, it wiped out like a portion of the world population of humans. It killed so many people that the only people left like were the ones with some kind of immunity.
Wait, so
Yeah,
oh
nothing stopped
so
it.
the
It
last
killed
ones
killed millions. Yeah, like
so the last ones to have it, they were like immune to it?
I'm sorry.
They what would you say they had like some kind of immunity?
Yeah. The people that survived either had caught it and survived it, had some kind of natural immunity, or there was like enough people around them that had an immunity to it that they didn't catch it because that the ones that did come into contact with it weren't affected. So nothing stopped it. It just kept killing until it ran its course through humanity. So it wiped out, I think, like 2/3 of the population of humans on this planet. Something
How
like
long did
this.
it last?
Years. Like it's horrible. Like imagine, yeah, like especially now that there's more people. Like how uh, how many bodies that would be. Yeah, that's scary. I remember I was having the same argument with my friend, right? He's like, it only kills 10%, of the people it infects. Even if it infected the whole world, like it would only kill 10%. And I'm like, that's millions.
Yeah.
That's millions of people. 10% of the world population, we're talking millions. Um, so it's it's scary, at the same time, even though like the number doesn't sound that bad, right? 10%. Like, oh, it's just 10%. When you think about like the scale of it's horrifying. It's like Jesus.
And
Um,
then
you know who else was trying to argue with me numbers? Barzy.
Parsi? Oh,
Yeah,
you were talking.
the last time he gave me a ride um, from church to my house, he was doing the same thing, the 10% like mortality rate, and he's like, uh, his argument was like, well, if less people get infected, right, 10% is going to go down, right? And I said, like, that's not how percents work, right? Whether it affects 10 people or 100 people, the death rate is still 10%, right? So that means out of 10 people, one is going to die, and out of 100 people, 10 are going to die.
Mhm.
right? So he's like, um, I was trying to explain to him, yeah, like the percentage stays the same, uh, even if the number of deaths go down. If that makes any sense.
So the percentage. Oh, right. So it still it stays the same, but even if deaths go down, it's like
Yeah,
the same
yeah,
percentage.
yeah. Because yeah, I think he was confusing numbers of people infected with the mortality rate of the virus itself,
Mm.
which is different, right? Depending on how many people get infected, you get a different number of like how many people die. That doesn't change the like effectiveness of the virus by itself.
And then I saw like because I saw the protests.
Mm.
I'm not like, against the protests, but I just think it's like it sucks. It has to be at this time, with the
During,
virus.
during the virus.
And I saw the pictures, and I saw like a picture of LA. There was like a whole crowd together,
Yeah,
like down the street. Like everything was like full of people. And I feel like a lot more people are gonna get sick.
true. But like but on the other hand, like it is one of those things where it's now or never. Like you gotta push for it while people are still down for it.
Yeah.
Um, I think so. Someone, I think Dave Chappelle was the one that they asked him about this because he he was pretty well informed of when something similar happened in South Africa. Because only like I don't know a year, like fairly recently, did they finally end apartheid, right? Like where they in South Africa, like they still separated like black people from white people, and white
Mm.
people were like treated better. And what's brutal about it, like it's Africa. Like even in their own like land, they still get treated like crap. So uh, he said that it got bloody before like the change came. He's like Dave Chappelle said like he's like I hope it doesn't have to get bloody for that to happen here. Um, and in a way, in a manner speaking, it did though. Like dang, like you we right now like I'm starting to see all these cases of just like that just brutal discrimination like it's a lot worse than like I think anyone realized, like people going out for jogs and like getting shot and no one getting in trouble.
Oh, like I saw. I don't know if you saw it, but I saw this video where they pepper sprayed a little girl.
Yeah, that was brutal.
Yeah, that was like, yeah, she was just screaming, and then they put like milk down her face. I was like, damn, like what,
Why,
like,
right?
what is little girl gonna do?
No, dude, it gets way worse. There was this lady who shot a guy. Okay, so this is this guy goes to his house, his apartment, and he goes in there. There's someone already in there, uh, and that other person shoots him, right? And he
Mm-hmm.
dies. It was a black man. The lady in there thought she was in her house,
Mm-hmm.
so she thought
What?
someone, yeah, that was the defense. So she thought she was like being broken into.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so either she was extremely drunk or something, right? Either way, like she, and I think she was a cop too. Um, and her punishment was like nothing, nothing like this. She killed a guy in his own home and got away with it, basically.
What the heck? That's
Yeah, that's brutal. Have you ever like had any kind of discrimination like that?
no, no. You?
The only time I can think of was once when I was like 16 or
Mm-hmm.
17. Um, my family lived in like a super nice like white neighborhood in Santa Clara. Um, it was really nice. I miss it. It was actually good. But the point is, uh, my dad was teaching me how to drive. Like I had just gotten my permit, and we were we were going out. He was going to take me to the freeway, and we got pulled over, right? And like I hear my dad like kind of like mumble under his breath, like they've been following us since we left the house.
Mm.
And you know that nothing happened. Like we didn't get a ticket or a warning or anything like that. I don't forget what they said exactly, but that it nothing really happened. I think the cop said something like we just don't see like this kind of car here a lot, right? Something like that. And
Mm.
and I from my like perspective, I thought that's just what police do. Like they pull over people for no reason. Like they're just douchebags like that. And then like I've seen like I don't know what to call it, like testimonies of like white people when they get pulled over, and it's like for way more serious things, and they basically get the same like a warning, you know.
Mm.
I was like, what the hell? So if I was doing something wrong, it would have gone down way worse. What the hell? It's like, so just because I just happened to be driving like correctly, like nothing, like that's kind of scary. Like, damn. I mean, I didn't realize that when I was 16. I was just like, this is just what they do. But I don't know. That was horrible. That was horrible. Uh, just the realization when it hit me, like what happened. I guess. I mean,
Mm.
I'm glad it didn't escalate. Jesus, like I'm glad like I didn't get a ticket. I'm glad nothing happened. I'm glad that's like as bad as it got for me. But you know, you hear these other stories of like guys who got off a lot worse for a lot less.
Yeah, I saw this video where this this some cop pulled over this black guy, right?
Already.
And then he was doing everything. He had his hands on the steering wheel, or what's it called, like above the steering wheel? The
Like hands above the steering wheel or something like that.
Yeah, something like, yeah. He had his hands there,
Mm-hmm.
and then and then I think he told him to reach for his ID.
Yeah.
And he pulled out his gun. The cop, he's like, "Hey, like, chill." When he was reaching for his ID, and then you could clearly like see like the black guy was scared. He was shaking, so he reaches it. He reaches for it again, and he shoots him like 5 times.
No, it gets worse than that. I saw this, and I saw the video for it. This guy, he went into a store and he picked up, I think it was a BB gun they were selling there. So he had that with him. He was gonna buy it, and someone else in the store, like another, what do they call them, patrons or whatever, someone else that was shopping at the store, called the police, like saying that he was like had a gun, was pointing it at people. They shot that guy and killed him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and there's a video of him like picking it up, walking around the store, like not even pointing it at anyone, like just carrying it to buy. And I'm sure the person that called, like I don't even know their name. That I'm sure they got away with it. I'm sure that person is responsible for like a man dying and nothing happened. That's
No,
brutal,
now that I think
right?
about it, Santiago, he was like, good thing something, because Santiago had a BB gun too,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes he would when we would hang out with Chris, and Chris would drive his car, and then Santiago would, like, while like driving, he would pull out the BB gun and like aim it at Chris, like as a joke. Now that I think about it, I'm like, yeah, that's not the smartest thing to do.
No, it's hella dumb because he's dark.
Yeah.
But Chris is too. Like, right? Like, even if Chris does nothing, like, there's a good chance he might get in trouble. Right? Like
Yeah.
that's how bad it is. Like that, he legit has to worry about getting hurt, even if he's the victim of something, even if he's the one that calls the police. That's what's interesting. Now I don't know how true it is, but I heard that in the South, like the way the police got started was their original job was to like um, hunt down and capture like escaped slaves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, when they get started?
Huh? What, when slavery started? But like I looked at a bit, just a bit of the history of slavery, and dude, it was the Dutch.
Mm-hmm.
People from the Netherlands. The Dutch were the ones that like,
Yeah, I read that somewhere. I read that
yeah,
like
they
they're the
went
ones that.
they went out of their way to go like halfway across the world to hunt down people from Africa and just drag them to the United States to sell. Um, it's the weirdest thing. Like I don't know, for some reason I always had it in my head like it was like Americans. I mean, that doesn't make it any less like horrible that they still bought people. Um, but still, like, man, the Dutch are such pieces of crap. Like, I'm not black, but I'm still never gonna forgive them. You know, like that's how bad it is. Like, if those guys just didn't like meddle in, was none of their business. Like, I don't know, that's some pretty horrific things. I can see why people from like the Scandinavian countries don't like the Dutch.
Yeah.
I always see it on like TV shows and stuff. You know, like everyone's like, "Oh, it's the Dutch," like you know, with that like sass. I guess that's where it comes from because they know. Dude, speaking of, I forgot what town, but it again, and it's in those Scandinavian countries. Okay, so they have their this holiday. Like it's kind of like Christmas. It might be Christmas, but uh, they have like a Santa Claus. It's like he has a different, very like slightly different name. His name is like Winterklaas or something like that. I don't know, something like that. But and he looks like Santa Claus, but he has an assistant who's black, right?
Mhm.
Assistant, right? And it's super traditional to dress up as that assistant. So every year, like around like winter, like the Christmas season, there's like a ton of white people like with blackface on, you know,
What the heck?
and like wigs of like, you know, the hair. Because and that became a problem because of all the immigrants, you know, like because of the Middle Eastern War, stuff like that, right? Like I forget what it's called. It's not immigrants. Um, damn. There's a word for people that are displaced during wartime. So when someone's looking for asylum, they're not called immigrants. They're called. I forget what the name is for it. But the point is, you know, they started to notice. They're like, why are they all, you know, painting their faces black? And it's a reference to that. Uh, and they're fighting for it. Like they don't want to give that up, like the blackface
Mm.
up. Like they feel very strongly about its tradition. Uh, but I was like, it doesn't seem like a real tradition. It seems like just like a dumb public holiday. It's not like,
I've never heard of that.
yeah, I know. It took, yeah, I never heard of it. Like I said, no one, that's why it lasted so long because no one had heard about it. Like I didn't even know about it till that happened. Till like people started recording it and taking pictures, and it's like, what the hell? How long have this been going on? Um, but I think it's like bullcrap. It's not like a real tradition. It's not like they're worshiping like Odin or Thor, something cool like that, you know. Like so, but no, it's just straight up. They're dressing up as Santa Claus's slave, you know, because it's his assistant, you know, like it does what
Yeah.
he says. It's like, oh, just call it what it is, you scumbags.
Did you see the video where I forgot where, but they threw the Christopher Columbus statue at the river?
Yeah, no, he's a scumbag
Yeah.
too. Christopher Columbus is a
Yeah.
monster.
I don't know
Yeah,
why they have. Why is it even celebrated in the first place?
to get the days off. It's a national holiday. I think that I forgot who or what. Like they just wanted any excuse to have like an extra day off, and they're like, what happened on this day, or what can we say happened on this day? I really don't think it was like anything too meaningful, and that's the only reason I think Columbus Day, like, even though it's been petitioned to like get removed. That's why it hasn't been removed. Like people want the day off. I think there should be a movement to just change the celebration, like change the name.
Yeah, like
Yeah, it's like keep the day off. That's what we all
why
care.
they pick that
That's what
day?
that's what we all care about. I forgot it. I'm sure it made sense back then. Like I'm sure there was like something because I'm pretty sure no one gives a crap about Christopher Columbus. Like
Christmas or what?
I'm sure no one gives a crap about Christopher Columbus.
I know, man, no.
Like the man, and he's a scumbag. Like As far as I know, he's just another filthy Spaniard who came to Mexico and like raped the crap out of anything that moved, like all the other filthy Europeans. Brought their smallpox, wiped out like a third of the South American population. No, and that actually goes into like a deeper thing, because there had been some explorers that came before like the main conquistadors came,
Mm.
and they would talk about these like big cities and like hundreds and thousands of people in the forest, and I'm like, no, there's cities, made of gold. Like there's so many people. There's like these advanced civilizations. So when like the main wave of conquistadores came, they didn't find any of that. It was just mostly jungle, very very few people. Uh, and ever since like deforestation started to happen, like these cities started to like reappear after they wipe out like the trees. So the new theory is that the first uh, explorers that came, yeah, they brought disease, and just to these people that had absolutely no defense against them, just wiped them from the map. So
Mm.
in like 100 years, when the next wave of actual conquerors came to like take things, yeah, by that time, yeah, their cities were all overgrown. The people were gone; they were dead. They had been killed by the plagues that the first guys brought, which makes sense when you look at like how effective like that was. Because there's like I think there's a theory that says that it wasn't even really the guns that wiped out like the Aztecs and stuff. It was just that like illness.
Mm.
It was literally just they were it was something that spread easily, was really deadly, and they had nothing to defend themselves against.
If you think human extinction were like this, it would like to happen soon, what do you think would be the cause? Like a virus,
I think
or
so.
just like yeah,
Human extinction, like straight up wipe out people.
yeah,
Now, if I had to guess, now we're assuming this isn't a simulation, right? We're assuming this is not a simulation theory, right?
yeah,
Um, I'd say something that has the power to wipe out humanity is maybe like a meteor.
yeah. Because I see some that like they're flying like pretty close to Earth now, huh? And
They've
there's some big
been,
ones.
no, they've
Yeah.
been like for a long time, and all it takes is like a wobble in like the gravitational fields for something to like move when it's not supposed to, and all of a sudden we have an extinction level event. Um, yeah, I would say that because like when it comes to biological threats, like a virus or something, like we're getting pretty good at like fighting that off. Like as a race, as a species, like scientists are getting pretty good at like identifying uh, like the mechanisms of infection and like making a vaccine and things like that. What's the main thing that stopped coronavirus or the coronavirus, COVID from like getting from starting right away? I mean, it's actually the vaccine is moving really fast, faster than I think any other vaccine has. But there was a really big like concern that the pharmaceutical companies wouldn't even try to find a cure for it because they believed that it was a one-time infection.
Mm.
Like the reason they make flu vaccines and stuff is because it's seasonal. Like they'll always be making a new one. Like there's always like it's a business. There's always money to be made. But if COVID is like a one-time thing, then you just make the vaccine once, and all that research, all that millions and billions of dollars that went into the research, like you'll never remake that.
Mm.
It's just gone. Um, but I don't know how true that is. I'm not in that sector of the medical field, pharmaceuticals. But it is something that we were learning about it in my chemistry class and biology class. After a certain level, like they actually go together really like well. But I guess it is what it is, right? Hopefully the vaccine comes out soon. sooner rather than later, and hopefully, you know, it doesn't spike. I mean, everything is reopening, and you hear about these states. Like I don't know if you heard that Texas was like the first state to just reopen completely.
Was it
Yeah,
Texas? Was
yeah,
it?
it was
It was the
Texas
first one. No, the one that reopened recently is New York, huh?
recently, but
And
yeah,
that's crazy, huh? That New York had the most, and now they're reopened.
no, I mean, yeah, that is crazy. But Texas reopened way before that, way before anyone. And everywhere that's been reopened, though, like they've seen like the spike in infection rates,
Mm.
because like that's what scientists like or doctors have said. It's like you get this false sense of comfort because like you buckle down, you start seeing like, oh, almost no one is getting infected. Why am I staying indoors? When you don't realize that, yeah, the reason almost no one is getting infected is because you're staying indoors, right? It's the same reason like those anti-vax people are weird about it. They're like, why are we getting vaccines against something that like doesn't infect people? Well, it's because people have been getting vaccines. I don't know if you noticed, but like in areas where like there's like a large non-vaccinated population, like you start seeing like these weird infections again. Like infections that no one has seen in years. But it is what it is. Like it has to happen at some point. You know,
Mm.
like something works so well that it feels like unnecessary, but you don't realize that just because it works well doesn't mean it's unnecessary.
So, Michael, no. On a lighter note, you watching Interstellar?
Been watching what?
Interstellar? Interstellar.
Oh, Interstellar.
Yeah.
Have I watched it or have I watched it recently?
Are you watching that?
Was
Because I
that a?
see the girl in the background
Oh,
on
that
TV.
no, that's from Silent Hill One.
Oh, I thought that was the. I forgot her name. I forgot her name. Murph. I thought that was Murph.
Oh, the red hair, I
Yeah,
guess.
that looks
Yeah,
like Murph from here.
interesting. No, it's that's a character. That's a nurse from a horror game. I think in this scene, her eyes are black because she has a parasite in the back of her head,
Mm.
and she had been infected the whole time she was helping your character out. But at this point, the parasite is like too much for it to not show symptoms. So right here in the scene, I believe she gets up and her eyes start bleeding. Her eyes are like pitch black, and she's just like, "Help me!" And she's walking towards you, and I think you leave the room and let her die in there. Oh
Okay.
yeah, and this is not a zombie game. This is like a psychological torture game. Like
Mm.
all the horrors in this game, like are from like the deep fears of like a tortured little girl. So the reason like nurses have parasites is because from her perspective, they were being controlled by the head doctors.
Mm.
Yeah, that's where like the parasite psychology comes from. It's like they're not uh, controlling themselves. Like no, it's interesting. Like all the monsters have like these weird psychological um, reasons like behind them. Like there are monsters that like have broken necks because like I think someone would try to strangle her. There are monsters that like everything like that hold you down because you know again it depends where you find them. It's like because whoever that was there like would often like hold her down and she wouldn't be able to move.
Mm.
So and they all have like these horrific like fleshy colors. Like it's like they don't have skin. Type of look. You should play it. It's a great horror game. It's one of my favorites.
You know,
Yeah.
speaking of horror games, so like you're planning on bringing gaming to this, right?
Of course, yeah. That's what
Would you ever? Would you? Why don't you do like the horror games, like with the jump scares, and like have
yeah.
like your
I feel
have
like
like
those.
your guest on the edge?
I feel like those are overdone.
Yeah. Is there is
Yeah,
there is there something like that?
yeah. Like, but those are when like a new horror game comes out. You know, like
Mm.
when the new Five Nights at Freddy's comes out or something like that.
Cause I know a new Outlast is coming out.
Is there something going on in there?
Oh, all right then. Let's get my charger real quick. But yeah, Michael. So if this podcast does take off,
Remember you
yeah,
as the first interviewee.
just delete or just delete my video.
No one must know. Have you been talking to any girls?
No,
Damn. I thought you were gonna show me how it's done. I want you to show me how it's done.
no, Michael. It's not. We're the. It's not the time for that.
This is the perfect
No,
time. No one has
no.
anything better to do except like talk.
Talk through text. No,
Yeah, it's pretty much like as far as I can see.
no. I've become a bad texter now. I've become a bad texter. Like I can't keep up anymore. Like a conversation wise.
Well, like so many people trying to talk to you that you can't keep up with all of them.
No, just like
Can't keep your
just
story
like
straight.
no. All right,
Damn.
so it does take off. Where are you gonna post your videos? YouTube?
Yeah.
And you're gonna stay there?
Yeah. What? Where else? SoundCloud,
Spotify?
Spotify.
Yeah.
I don't know how easy or hard it would be to put it up on Spotify. That seems. I know everyone does, but I don't know how. What went on behind the scenes for that to happen? But for now, this will just have to do. Um, but man, that was. This has been some interesting months, interesting few days. I do feel though that I think things might improve, maybe, hopefully.
When do you think they will? Actually, when do you think we'll be back to church?
That's tough to say. I feel like churches are going to be some of the last things that like get reopened.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like they're really not essential to like in that way. You know, like the government way, where like do they provide food, shelter,
Mm.
anything like that. Um, but then again, like I seen some like ridiculous like churches that open up during quarantine, and the things they say are like, why do they call themselves Christian?
Mm.
They're horrible people. I mean, not that I'm judging, but I'm sure anyone that would see the things that these people say would be like, you're not one of us. Get out of this. Get out of here. Stop calling yourself Christian. Because I see some like awful things, god awful things. They say some ridiculous things, and like their church leaders would be like, yeah, just because you don't come to church, doesn't mean you have to stop donating, stuff like that.
Mm.
Like whatever you do, don't stop giving me money. Like, why do you gotta make it so like obvious that you're just trying to get like some cheddar? Like it's really bad. But again, like I guess it is what it is, and you would think that this situation would help those people like see who's leading them spiritually and like what they're all clearly all about.
Mm.
But no, they're just like, they, as the saying goes, like blind faith, onward Christian soldier, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Even if they reopened our church, I'd be hesitant to like be near any one of you.
Really? Why?
I mean, I know you guys should be more afraid of me because I actually work in like a clinical setting, so there's like more of a higher chance of me being the one that spreads it to you guys. But still, you never know where it's gonna come from. There's a
But
lot.
I feel like you guys are more clean though.
What do you mean? Oh, like
Yeah.
nah. I mean, yes, but like I think like the people who are like front line, they're exposed to it so much. It doesn't matter how clean you are. Like some little mistake is gonna like that you forgot to do. Like you forgot to clean the doorknob. Something like oh you accidentally touched your face right after you did something like something. There's more of a chance of that happening. Like so,
What would you do like all right, let's say you were working and then you accidentally touch your face? What would you do? Would you like immediately go to wash your face?
if I touch my face,
Yeah.
uh, sanitize my hands, I guess. Yeah, probably something like that.
Yeah.
Mm, yeah, probably. I mean, even if it's just for like the psychological like peace of mind, uh, because at the end of the day, like it's a virus. Like you're not gonna see when it infects you. You're not gonna feel it right away. By the time you feel it, you're already like you're in deep. By the
Mm.
time you start feeling symptoms, you're already like knocking on heaven's door. Was
That's
this?
it. That's pretty that one's scary.
It
That's scary.
is scary.
Like how can you how can you even stop no, how can you even get treatment when you're before you're too deep? Since you have no symptoms.
The only thing that I've seen is like just getting tested.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Have you gotten tested?
no, I haven't needed to, and I plan to keep it that way. But my coworker did that when they got sick with something that she got tested and came out negative. So one time coming out negative is a good thing, right? Um, so hopefully that's a good thing. I mean, it is. Yeah. But man, I am getting tired of this. Uh, it's not like I did much, anyways, even when before the pandemic hit. But
Mm.
still, what hurts me the most is the buses.
The buses?
Yeah, like they only take like 4 or 5 people at a time, and if they're full, they just keep driving. So
Mm.
like, so I've been getting to work late some days because like I would miss like 1 or 2 buses in a row because they're full, and it's like, damn, when is a bus, without 5 people gonna pass by? There's some drivers that like have mercy and they'll pick up everyone, and the buses will be packed, and and then you don't feel like safe because it's like, okay, like don't touch me, you filthy, I don't know, person, like because you don't know, again, like it doesn't feel good to be like really close. When that happens, I'll be really close to like the front of the bus, like pretty much next to the bus driver, like up there with like those handlebars, just like, yeah, I don't want to be close to anyone, not even you. But yeah, that's the only thing that's been really hurting. At first it was great, like everyone was staying at home, the buses were like basically empty, so I could, I guess, sit wherever I want. There'd be like no stops because no one was trying to get on the bus, so I would get to work hella fast.
Mm.
That's not how it went though. That's not how it stayed.
I know, because I remember at the first day, like I remember I went to Target and I saw the streets, like there were like a little bit of cars, and all the cars were at Target, like in stores.
Mhm.
And then like now, like this is the streets look normal again, like full of cars and everything.
Yeah, for the most part, like I'm noticing like that. Yeah, like it's getting pretty normal in terms of people's like activity levels at like stores and stuff. I don't usually go to stores. I'm tempted though to go to my boba place again. It looks open and there's people inside, so it's not just to go anymore. It looks like they reopened their like dining area. So Hopefully, right? Man, and I've been buying a bunch of useless crap too, like because I'm at home and I'm like, oh, what do I need? Like it's hard to save. Like I don't need anything. Like, but like so, then what do I want? Like I bought a limited edition Zelda 3DS. Yeah, only the best. Spared no expense. Like it's getting ridiculous.
Oh, I know it too. Like only about the Xbox, yeah.
Dude,
And then I have to buy.
forget the Xbox. Yeah, I was gonna say the PS5 just got announced,
You know,
and I know the memes going around like, oh, like every guy, trying to kiss up to their girl, like, so they can buy it, and I'm like, what the hell? I don't have a girl, like, so I just don't get it, I guess, because there's no one around to buy it for me. So, what
you still have time.
does that even mean?
So when it comes, are you gonna get it? Like right when it
No,
comes out?
no, no.
Oh, you're gonna wait for more
Not there's
content?
I mean, I'm not gonna wait for anything that I'm remotely interested in. There's nothing on the PS5 that I'm like interested at all right now. There, yeah, there's nothing. Like what has been announced? There's nothing. Like yeah, like the graphics are probably gonna be really nice, and the console looks really good. The aesthetic of it looks really futuristic. But there's no game that I want. You know what console is like killing it right now with things that I want? The
What?
Switch. The Switch.
Mhm.
The Switch, like they keep announcing things that I'm like, I need to get that. Like Resident Evil 4 for the Switch just got remastered. I'm getting that. Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 got teased. I'm getting that. Metroid Prime 4 got teased. I'm getting that. Like they just know what's up. I'm not a Mario fan, so like I don't care when they release a new Mario, but all these other titles, I'm like, damn it, they know me. They got me, and I got fighters for the Switch too. So it's like,
You know, speaking of titles, why haven't you got Red Dead Redemption 2?
when are you gonna beat God of War for the
I
PS4?
have beat it already.
Did you?
Yeah, I beat it.
Yeah. What's Atreus's true name?
Loki.
Is that that's the ending that everyone saw? So you didn't see
I played it.
the
The most annoying enemies were the one with the little flies. They're not flies, but like human with wings. Not humans, but like
the
they were annoying.
Valkyries.
Yeah, they were annoying. That mission where
Did you
you're
beat
like
them?
it's like in an elevator.
Yeah.
That one
Uh,
that one pissed me off so much.
are you talking about still with the Valkyries, or is that the one with the dragon? Kind of close to the beginning
No,
of the
the
game.
Dockeries.
The Valkyries. Damn,
Yeah, it's like by the end,
you beat
it's
them
like,
all.
huh?
You beat them all.
No, but like there's a mission like it's like an elevator, not an elevator, but something that's going up, and they just keep coming. That mission pissed me off so much. I died so many times.
Oh no! Oh yeah, those are not Valkyries. Those are dark elves. Okay,
Dark, yeah, all right, the elves. That's what I was talking
yeah,
about.
yeah, those are what you're talking
Yeah,
about. Yeah, I was gonna say no. The Valkyries are by far the hardest like mini bosses in the game. They're harder than most regular bosses. I was gonna say like you thought they were annoying. Like people have trouble just beating one of them. So I was gonna say like, are you that good? That the hardest thing in the game is just annoying to you? It's like Jesus. No, yeah, those guys are annoying. The dark elves.
yeah.
Because they come from the sky and they're hard to like find. They're always like moving around.
And so
Uh,
yeah, I mean, it's a good game. It's a good game.
but it's a
It's a
great game.
kids
When you,
game. No, I'm just
it,
kidding. I'm just kidding. I mean, but I played Red Dead Redemption 2 earlier. I'm like, no, like this is that's better. That's better than Call of War.
so in your opinion, that's where it's at.
Yeah, I replayed it again. Like the ending, I'm like that
Now,
still got me.
I think we just grew up in different times, man. Because the best story games that I've played are Japanese. Um,
Japanese.
yeah, like I grew up with like the Japanese RPGs, like the Final Fantasies and
Mm-hmm.
Legend of Zeldas. Uh, like by far they have a much more interesting like story, the exception being God of War though, the one for the PS4, not the first three or 4 technically, but yeah, no, those were fun, but their stories were not deep at all. You know, it was just an angry guy, revenge. I'm gonna kill it. You know, I'm gonna kill them, and it's good. Like it's a great game. I love the series, but you know, on the PS4 is when they stepped up their story, and by the end of it, I was like, damn, legend. You know, like made me think about stuff. No, but the Japanese have been doing that level of storytelling for like forever. Like if you ever get a chance, even on their handhelds, for the Game Boy Advance, there's this game called Mother 3.
Mm.
Damn, that one, like I was like, so much good story in such like a little package. That's how you know back then they were literally more focused on the story than like the graphics. Not like today. Like I feel like Call of Duty's falling into that trap.
Call of Duty.
Yeah, like each new Call of Duty game just has better graphics and like minor mechanics, like tweaks here and there. Like, oh, you can reload faster now, or oh, you have different guns, but
What
it's
was
the same game.
what was the last Call of Duty you played?
Uh, Go.
Go.
Yeah, Global Offensive.
Which one was that?
It's like a super popular like online
Oh,
deathmatch version of Call of Duty. Um, but like that one, it was good. Like, it is good. It still is. But like shooting games have just never been my cup of tea. Now,
you know.
if we're talking fighting games, that's when I start sounding like one of those like rich people that's like wine tasting. You know, like I like the flavor of it. You know, it has a bit of bitterness, but the sweetness from the 12 years it's been fermenting, you know, balances it out. When it comes to fighting games, that's where I'm like, well, I mean, Street Fighter Alpha, you have some of the best gaming mechanics in the birth of what we call the long chain combos, and then in Street Fighter 3, preferably Maximum Impact or Third Strike. Maximum Impact was the second one. Third Strike, when we have the perfected version of basically what Street Fighter is and will always be at the best. Anything after that uh, is hot garbage. Street Fighter 4, uh, garbage. Street Fighter 5, garbage. The graphics are pretty. The lag, the lag is uh, unacceptable. Completely, like to me, those games are unplayable.
Mm.
Like, like I know that for anyone who hasn't played like the old games in a long time, you probably don't feel it. To you, the game is probably like fast, unacceptably slow. So you're basically fighting like two moves like behind. Like it slows you down to play with the lag. Like it's unacceptably slow. I'm not surprised. Like Street Fighter's been on a decline. Uh, Third Strike, you need like the reflexes of like a machine, like half second, like twitch muscles, like to pull off combos and blocks, and it's amazing. It's a rush. Like your strategy needs to be like built into your brain to like to do it on the spot. Um, I went from that to Street Fighter 4 and 5, hoping it would be fixed. Unacceptably slow. I was losing until I got used to the lag, and then I started to like play better. But then I went back because I missed playing 3. The graphic, like I like the hand drawn graphics, and I was getting I was getting killed there, and I was like, why am I? Oh, like I realized like my timing had completely changed. I was
Mm.
very slow, unreactive. I'm never going back to that trash. The game that fixed it, Fighters. Like their lag is completely like acceptable. You're playing at a good speed. Yeah, no, that there's an argument that that's not even an argument. Everyone who knows it says Fighters is what Marvel Infinite should have been. Because if you look at Fighters, the play style is a lot like Marvel versus Capcom 2, the last of the good Marvel versus Capcom games. Uh, Big graphics, like like the Hadouken looks like a gigantic Kamehameha. If you ever take a look at those old Street Fighter games versus Capcom, Um, like all the attacks are like over the top and big and flashy, and they look amazing, and they're really satisfying to pull off. And it's a fast game. Um, and then you play, yeah, for sure. I agree with that. Fighters
Are they
is
still like are
definitely
they still adding characters into it? Because last time I saw freaking what's his name?
to Street Fighter.
Janemba was added. That was the last
Oh,
time.
that was like, yeah, that was like the one of the, yeah, that was like a season ago. Yeah, in the new season, they finally added Ultra Instinct Goku.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's the new like broken character, because he fights just like he does in the show. Like he dodges everything, like he doesn't even really move to like damage you. And you're like, what the hell? This is pretty good. Yeah, they're still adding characters. I think the season is 4 or 3 right now. I
Well,
recommend it. Eh,
speaking of games, The Last of Us 2.
to Do you believe that what the director's saying? Like, no, guys, it's not that bad. We swear.
What
It's hard to
do you mean
deny.
it's not the bad?
Yeah, right.
Like,
Right. He's already admitting like that is not gonna be like what we want.
like I'm looking like at the cutscene and I'm just like, how's it not bad?
Right. Like,
No, because they leaked because it's close to coming out. You know,
yeah,
some people have it.
it's like 2 weeks or something, right?
Comes out Friday.
Oh, this. Oh, wow. Okay, a week. Yeah, nice.
Yeah, and and then they leaked like the first 3 hours,
Mm.
and I saw it. I'm like, what the heck? There's like there's um there's bad writing there. They messed up Joel. They killed him off way too early, and yeah,
When it comes to writing, though,
and you play as a character that kills him.
that sucks. So they make you responsible for that. But when it comes to writing, like dialogue, what do you think is more important? A beautiful line, like set done well, with good voice acting,
Hmm.
or solid storytelling, like
Solid storytelling.
the motivation for a character. You prefer that?
Yeah,
I prefer the beautiful lines.
really.
Yeah, because a beautiful line, when it's done right, it's also storytelling when it's done right. But if it's done wrong, then it feels out of place, and you feel like, what the hell did I just watch? Um, but a good example of like a game with beautiful lines, besides God of War. Actually, did you ever get a chance to check out Westworld season 1, at least?
No,
You haven't. Uh, you know who Anthony Hopkins is, right?
can it? What? No, what's the movie called? Heck.
Silence of the Lambs, I think is.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I was thinking about his name.
it's a great name. It's a great movie. Um, but the point is, every line he delivers in Westworld is uh, powerful. Like, even when it's like small, it like there's so much repercussions around him that you're just like, what? Like, that was beautifully done. Like, I don't know what's happening, but it was so good that you take it, for what it is. Um, like uh, like there's a scene where like some of the robots are like malfunctioning, and his friend, his assistant, tells him like, someone messed with our robots, right? And Anthony Hopkins is like, uh Occam's razor, right?
Hmm.
Do you know that the expression Occam's razor?
What?
Occam was a monk. He was a priest back in like the 1700s, and he came up with like this philosophy that basically says the simplest answer is usually the uh the solution, right? Like, let's say you hear hoofbeats, right? You should think horse, not zebra. Like, zebra is very unlikely. Yes, they both sound almost exactly the same, but go with the simple answer. Like, you'll be right most of the time, right? And Anthony Hopkins is like, yes, our friend Occam's razor. Like, I don't think he can help us now. You know, he from his perspective, uh, we're doing witchcraft. Like
Mm.
we speak the right words and we create life. They're talking about like the artificial intelligence robots, and he's like, that he can't help us now because the things that we do here are not simple, they're extremely complicated. You're like, I don't know what was the point of that, but that was awesome.
Yes.
Like, because like the way he delivered it was just so meaningful. You can't help but feel like I'm sure he's right. Whatever it was that he just explained, I agree with him. Because I love that, and I love that line. Like we speak the right words and we create life. It's a reference to God. It's a reference to Genesis 1. Like when God created everything, all he did was speak.
Mm.
So he's comparing, like there's so much to take from those scenes. Like he's comparing himself to God. Um, and it's on purpose because there's another, like dude, and it all comes together. There's another scene where he's outside and a little boy robot is like with him, and he's like, "What are you doing?" Like, and there's a snake that's coming by, and the little boy's like, "Is gonna get us." And Anthony Hopkins, he like kind of sticks out his hand. The snake stops, right? It's like frozen, and like he sends it away, and the little boy robot's like, "Is that magic?" And Anthony Hopkins is like, "That's the thing about magic. It exists for everyone except the magician."
What's a what?
Yeah, right?
What's that supposed to mean?
Because the magic isn't real to a magician because the magician is doing the illusion.
Oh
So to
yeah, yeah.
so to him, it's not magic. It's like a trick. It's a sleight of hand.
So
From
so you prefer that? All
Yes,
right, all right. Let's
absolutely.
say, all right. What if one, like just one character has that, and the rest don't?
It depends if he's like a main character and how often he is in the story. If he's like in the story often enough to carry me through the game, then that's fine. Um, so there's some games that do that. There's some games that really only have one good character, and then they pretty much carry the whole game on their back because they're so good. Uh, and I'm fine with that. Uh, you know, I think that's a good example of a game that's carried by one good like written character. Um,
What about movie? Thanos?
he's not the only good one.
To me, he was the only one. Wait, all right, who's good? Who's good as him?
Logan, Wolverine,
No, no, but in the Avengers, the movie.
who's as good
Yeah, but just him, right? Just Thanos.
as what's his name, Josh Brolin. I would argue, um, damn, you're right, but that's only
Yeah.
because he has to be. Like by design, he needs to be the best thing about the movie.
Mm.
Like because you got to remember, it's him versus like established, well-known. Like pretty much every hero he has to face has had their own movie. Like so, uh, the Avengers, like Infinity, what's it called when it's two? Like it's a trilogy when it's one. I forgot what it's called when it's a two movie sequel.
Two?
Yeah,
Sequel.
I don't know. Well, yeah, when it's two movies with where it's just him versus a team of like well-established characters, he needs to be interesting because he hasn't had his own movie to like for us to like care about him too much. So I would argue that's by design. So it doesn't really count. Um, but I can think of one, Loki.
Loki?
Yeah, Loki. Tom
Really?
Hiddleston is uh, is really good. Like as Loki, I believe the mix of like he's a douchebag, but he does like have his moments of caring for like um, Asgard and his brothers and stuff. He just doesn't give a crap about Earth in
Mm.
particular, but he does care about like for example when he tried in this first movie when he tried to kill all the frost giants, like that was horrible, and like Thor and Odin were like, that's not how you do things. But even towards the end, Loki was like, I could have done it. Like I could have wiped out like that race of monsters. And Odin is like, no, Loki, like that's not how you do things. But the point is, you see like that he wasn't just trying to destroy a planet, you know. In Avengers, I think it was two. Was it Avengers 2 when Loki's the bad guy? Or is it Avengers
Oh,
1?
that's the first one.
The first one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's different. That one he's being like manipulated by Thanos to like, fish like what's it called? Reveal the other Infinity Stones. Like it wasn't. I'm sure it wasn't really Loki like trying to take over the Earth 100%. Because I think we saw like a good example of how smart Thanos is. Like to the point where he can't be tricked. Like at the beginning of
Oh, yeah.
Infinity War, Loki tries to trick Thanos, but Thanos like catches. Like he never believed Loki in the first place. Like you can tell. Like I knew you were gonna like stab me, like guy. Uh, which Thanos had to be like that smart though. You should read the comics. This Thanos is retarded compared to like that. That's how good
Right.
he is. Like
I
I'm
know
not.
in the comics he was Stone, but he tricks. No, he talks more to get it right.
He what?
He talks more into getting the stones.
Yeah, he's low conflict. He prefers like the easy way, and he's so like if you ever get a chance, watch this anime called Death Note. Um, it's one of the most intelligent, like super well written uh, pieces of literature I've ever had the pleasure of enjoying. But if you knew what the characters were, I'd say he's like L or light status in the comics, meaning like he has these incredible like um, he has this ability to just know how people are going to react to him.
Mm.
I think a lot, yeah, like a lot of the stones, he pretty much just kind of like walks in, talks a little, maybe does a little bit of like trickery with like technology or something, or like with one of the stones, but it's very light. It's like just enough to get the stone, and then he just leaves. I think in like the first stone he gets is the power stone, right? It, some guy named the champion has it. He's on this planet. Thanos like bitch slaps him. He smacks him around a little bit, and he makes the guy get so mad that he destroys the planet, and so the guy's just floating in space, and Thanos was just like a hologram on the planet, right? So the guy's just floating in space, and Thanos just rolls up, and he's like, "Give me the power stone, and I'll like take you to a planet, or you can just float in space until you die. It's up to you. Like I'm good either way. Like I'll just come back for it later. Like you can keep it warm for me." And and yeah, like the guy's like, no, like he's right. Like I'm either gonna float in space for like hundreds or thousands of years until like I'm found or I get close to another planet. Probably longer. So he gives him the power stone, and then Thanos drops him off on a planet. And like that was just the first one. There's another one where he does even less. This guy has the time stone. It's a gardener. He has like the universe's most beautiful garden. The secret to his garden is that he uses a time stone to make plants, to freeze plants at their most beautiful blooms, forever. And so he's next to him, and the gardener's like smart too. He's like, I know why you're here. I'm not gonna give it up. And Thanos is like, I like your garden, like, and I like you. I'd rather not like have to kill you to get this. And then the gardener, I think he says, we both must do what we must. We both will do what we must, or something like that, right? Like we'll do what we got to do. And Thanos is just like, so be it. And they're sitting next to each other in the bench through this whole thing, and all you see is like one of Thanos's eyes like shine a little bit, and then the other guy, he like ages beyond like I don't know, life, until he turns into like a skeleton, turns to dust. And at first, because the panel is just there, and you're like, what just happened? Like
Mm.
I didn't see anything. And then Thanos, reveals it. He's like, he used the power of the power gem to amplify the power of the time gem to the point where the gardener couldn't control it anymore. So he just like aged himself to death, and then he just takes it. And he's like, all right, gem number two down. Like it's such a savage. And I think in like the Marvel movies, it was like Doctor Strange had it. Thanos had to like do this big fight, throw moons and planets at Doctor Strange. Um, had this whole conversation. Doctor Strange used it to look at different realities, and only one of them, had them winning. Uh, and I was like, what is all this like movie like nonsense?
I didn't like that they made their own gauntlet.
The are you talking about the Tony Stark one?
Yeah,
Why?
I prefer it was just that gauntlet that Thanos had.
The golden one made by the
By
the Asgard dwarves.
yeah,
That was pretty cool. I mean, and it was made specifically for Thanos, though.
yeah,
Yeah,
like
no, and that I don't know why they did that too. Like, although I don't know if you noticed, but Thanos was not hurt the first time he snapped his fingers. Did you notice that when he
when
er, when he erased half the population in the first movie, he snaps his fingers like when Thor's like when he tells Thor like you should have aimed for the head.
all right, he says he should have aimed for head, then he snaps, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, it
that,
was. He was like
that
burned.
no that came because he destroyed the gauntlet.
Uh,
Yeah. That he wasn't burned until the beginning of the second movie when they're like, "Where's the glove?" And that's when you see his like messed up hand, and he's like,
mm,
"I destroyed it." Um, but in the moment when he snaps his fingers, like in the first movie, he's perfectly fine, and that's how it is. I think maybe they changed their mind at some point because that's how it is in the comics. Like,
mm,
no one is hurt that way using the glove.
mm,
Uh, that's what I didn't like either. Like it shouldn't have killed Tony. It shouldn't have hurt the Hulk. You know,
yeah,
like I was like, that's not how the glove worked. Like the glove gives you like all the power in the universe. Like
yeah. You know about the power,
of
all the power in the universe. Like,
yeah,
you know how Thor throws what's his name, Stormbreaker?
Stormbreaker. Yeah,
Since he has all the power in the universe, why couldn't he stop it?
yeah.
Like,
Like that's another thing. Yeah, and in the comics that would not have happened. I think in the comics he turned Thor to glass. And then, like, I think the X-Men are also there in the comics. I think Cyclops shoots like an I beam at Thanos, and then
oh, and
Thanos
he has like the glass,
puts a
right?
glass
Yeah.
and suffocates him. Like in that, I was like, that is horrifying.
Who hits their head? Iron Man, right?
It's Iron Man,
Iron
yeah,
Man's head comes off.
yeah. No, yeah, like he's merciless because he has all the power. He becomes the universe at some point too.
Mm.
Thanos, it's like the glove is used to its actual potential, not like this half like nonsense, like Captain Marvel pushed back the beam or something, right? And Thanos had to take off the power gem to like use it by itself to hit her.
Yeah,
I was like, that's dumb. That's hella dumb. He should be able to use the power gem from the glove. Like, what's the difference between having it on the glove and like having it by itself? There shouldn't be a difference. Dumb. He should have turned it to like bubbles or something, like he could have done anything, but that's what he chose.
they like those movies.
Dumb.
They like contradict each other.
Yeah. Well, when you're writing something of that level of power, I think it's hard to write for it. But it's not like they were coming up with this like from their imagination. They have like years of comics that like worked out, the logic for like this level of power.
Mm.
I thought that was really dumb of certain things. Mostly Thanos' motivation though, like the comics, he's just trying to like impress a girl.
And like in the movie, why couldn't he just like double the resources or something?
He could. I mean, all the power in the universe does let you do that. I don't know why he
Yeah, that's why
had
like
that.
the comics. What? Because I prefer the comics, his motive in the comics.
To impress a girl?
Yeah.
Why?
Huh?
Why?
I feel like that makes way more sense. Like
Yeah,
he wants to get what he wants, but like, and the only way to get it is like getting the power, right? The stone, because she's not impressed by him, right?
yeah. All he's trying to do is impress her,
Yeah, and he's trying to get what he wants, and
and
but in
no,
the
but
movie he's like he knows what he wants, but I feel like there's different ways to get it. Just like with the stone, you have all the power in
yeah,
the universe.
yeah, no, like and in the comics, he's just as smart. Like he's just as like terrifying. Um, his motivations are not as like philosophical as that. But man, nothing beats that scene in the comics. So when he finally has the glove, and Mistress Death still doesn't like talk to him, even though he's like her avatar of death or something like in the universe. You know, like there's like a zombie that she keeps around that talks for her to him, and
Mm-hmm.
he's like, "I wiped out half the life in the universe for you. I am more powerful than like Galactus, and like he has Galactus and like Frozen behind him. I'm more powerful than any like space god. Like I'm more powerful than you." And he's like, "Talk to me." You know, and like that rat zombie's like, "No, she doesn't feel worthy talking to you. You are, like you said, you are more powerful than her." And
Mm-hmm.
Thanos is like, "That's nonsense. Like I'm telling her to talk to me." And he explodes the rat, and she still doesn't like even look at him. And you see like that tear in his eye, like all the power in the universe, and like I still can't get the thing that I want. And he thinks about it like I could, like he says it out loud. He's like, I could make you love me. Like with this glove, I can change the way like uh what's it called? You know, like he can change
Mm-hmm.
reality. Like he can change who you are as a person. And he's like, but that's not how I want it to like get this. So I was like, damn, the struggle is real. That's pretty interesting though.
Yeah.
But not this, not the and now that it's over, like what's even coming up next? Like the Love and Thunder movie is like super hyped, right? And it's gonna be Chris Hemsworth like last movie.
Really?
Yeah, and I think they're gonna make Natalie Portman, Jane Foster, Lady Thor.
Yeah. All I know right now is just because they haven't announced new movies.
They well, it's because they already announced Phase 4. I think that's what it's
Yeah,
called.
they announced the shows in the movies.
I wish there was more about the Doctor Strange movie. That one's supposed to be a horror movie.
I think they
Uh,
changed it though, didn't they?
it's not Multiverse of Madness anymore.
No, no, they're like, oh, it's still down, but I think they come out like, oh no, it's not a horror movie.
Whack. Whack. Because if there's, he's like the only Marvel hero who deals with like horrible things, you know? Like he'll go to dimensions where people's like heads explode, and there's like all these horrible creatures, you know, that like do horrible things.
Mm.
Demons, you know, that look like have you ever seen any of the Hellraiser movies?
The Hellraiser?
Yeah.
Um, I think no, no.
If you ever get a
Wait,
chance,
is it one of them Pinhead?
Pinhead, yeah. If you ever get a chance just to watch the first two, some of like the best horror movie though, if you ask me, is The Thing. It's one of the
The Thing?
manliest horror movies, yeah. The manliest horror movies, because like the way the characters handle the horror, like in the horror is like it's an alien that infects people, and like it replaces them cell by cell, and you can't tell, right? So you don't know who's infected, you don't know who's the creature, how many the creature has infected, and once it infects you, like it'll do horrible things, like it'll rip off its own arm, and the arm will turn into like a separate like creature. It'll grow legs, and it'll look like a
Mm.
crazy arm creature thing. Uh, but it's one of the manliest horror movies because the way that every character is treated, like they're pretty manly, like they're mean about it. You know, like they're always threatening each other. Like, "Are you infected?" Pulls a gun at him. You know, and then the other guy, like already had a gun pointed at him. Is like, "I don't know, man. Are you?" You know, like so they don't know who to trust, and they're all super like strapped. one of them even has like dynamite, like, come near me, man. I'll kill us. I'll make sure we're all, we're all not infected right now. Um, and it's pretty savage. I really like it. And then it ends with like two of the manliest ones, like looking at each other after everyone else is dead. And like the creature is horrible too, like how it
Mm.
does things. But it's them just looking at each other, you know. They both have a gun pointed at each other, but they're also like passing whiskey between them, and they're like, I guess we'll just have to wait, you know, till the spring, because it's winter. I
Mm.
was like, damn, that's what's up. Like that's how you go down, like a man. Um, but Doctor Strange does like deals with horrible things like that. I was reading this story where he finds a book that's like the binding is like the flesh of a demon that dared to dream of being an angel, and like it has spikes on it and it has like a weird face, and he opens it up to read like a spell that's forbidden because it like deals with creation magic,
Mm.
because he wants to like recreate his hands so that he can do surgeries again. uh, and like the spell is very like dangerous because either you'll get exactly what you want, or it'll give you the exact opposite of what you want, you know so he does the spell, and you see his like first you see like the skin come off, and you see like the muscle, and then you see the muscle like come off, and then you just see the bone, and you see the bone like disintegrating. He's like, what have I done? He has no hands, and you're just like, what? Like just happened. But then like it comes back together, and he has like the nerve, like that's what was happening. Like before something can be like recreated, it needed to be completely destroyed. So
Mm.
his nerves are like fully functional again, so he gets his hands back, and he saves this little boy that was dying.
Mm.
uh, and I was like, wow, they're giving Doctor Strange like that's been his thing since the beginning of his story. Like he was a surgeon. He was in an accident with his hands. He damaged them so he could never be a surgeon again. That's what made him search for the ancient one, because he heard stories that like he could heal. Instead, he ended up being the most powerful like sorcerer in like the multiverse. Um, he can do magic. He can do these like amazing things, destroy dimensions, create them, fight with gods, but he can't fix his hands. That's what made him an interesting character. Um, and in
So
the yeah,
his hands, they're like under a spell the whole time.
what do you mean?
Like his hands. So you just say he can't fix his hands, right?
Right?
But like, are they fixed?
No, no,
No,
like no. I mean, in the series or in this particular story?
in this story.
Oh yeah, in the story, yeah, they got recreated,
Mm.
like the same level of creation that like was used when the universe began was used to like fix his hand. Like his hand is new, basically.
Mm.
That's why it was like forbidden magic. Yeah, so right there he has his hands back in that story. Um, but the point is, Doctor Strange, he suffered from the same problem Superman suffered in his comic, right?
Too overpowered.
Yeah, like it got to the point where uh, Doctor Strange was able to be unaffected by the Infinity Gauntlet at full power. So all the gems, he could survive the snap. The universe, was destroyed except for Doctor Strange.
Mm.
During one of his fights, I forgot who he was fighting. It wasn't Thanos. Someone else had collected the glove, which made them extra dangerous. Because the thing about Thanos in the comics is like he's extremely intelligent, so he'll never do anything like too crazy because he knows like where to stop. So whenever someone dumber than him gets the glove, everyone's more worried. Uh, yeah, but I forgot who it was. Doctor Strange is like fighting him. The other guy has the Infinity Glove with full power, full gems. They try to erase Doctor Strange, and Doctor Strange is like still existing. So yeah, like they had to. depower Doctor Strange after that. It's like, okay, that's ridiculous. Like, so he's all powerful then, basically, Doctor Strange. So he his comics suffered the Superman problem. Like, how do you write an interesting story for someone that could do anything? I think in Superman's case, it's not that hard, but his weakness is too severe to write too many stories about it.
Mm.
You know, like his weakness is what, magic, right, and kryptonite.
Like, yeah.
Um, so if you use that every single time you want Superman to struggle, then his comics get boring.
Mm.
It's like, oh, okay, so he's it's just a magic user. Oh, it's just a rock of kryptonite. Like, okay, there's no real struggle there. It's just same old, same old. So they suffer from that. Although more interesting, or he's always been more interesting, is Batman in that heavy metal series. Did you see any of it?
No.
It was amazing. If you can look up like a explained video, it was amazing. Batman heavy metal, all the dark multiverse versions of Batman. There's like an evil Flash Batman, an evil
What's that one's what's it called? Red
the Red Death.
Red Death, yeah.
There was
And
the Joker Batman. Um,
the
he
Batman laughs.
the Batman who, like, he's the most powerful, the smartest, clearly, and he was like the one behind almost everything. He's clearly like the one that everyone fears. Like, yeah, everyone's afraid of. Even the other Batmans are afraid of him. Um, the Batman who laughs. They designed him to look like, I don't know if you noticed, from like Cenobite. Cenobites is what they call the demons from Hellraiser. You know, like the Pinhead. He has that same like costume. You know, like all
Mm.
that leather and like white skin and like the torturing, like he's always being cut somehow. Look. Uh, and then did you see the three Robins that he had on leashes?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. None of them were Dick or Tim Drake. Like all three of them were like different. One of them was Shazam, you know, like, and he was the Shazam that laughs.
Oh, yeah.
He was powerful too. Like, Jesus,
Didn't he like release him to fight Superman and Batman?
they did. Uh, yeah, yeah, but it like more than anything, it was. I remember that was just to distract Superman, because I know that all the Batmans needed to had like a job to do to distract heroes at a particular time so that the plan would go through. I know there's like the, what was it called, the Dawnbreaker Batman, who was the evil Green Lantern Batman, who corrupted the, what do they call it, the willpower. He
Mm.
corrupted the color green with his evil. Um, but there was like some iffy things, but then again, I kind of let it slide because it was so good. There was like the Aquaman Batman, I think it was called, the Drowned, who
Mm.
was like a girl Batman, and the reason she became evil was because her husband, which was Celine Kyle, right? Obviously, a reference to like the boy version of Selena Kyle, Catwoman, died. So, and I guess Atlantis was trying to wage war on the surface, so that lady Batman like modified her DNA to survive in the water. That's why she became that. And she was able to make like water zombies to anything that was dead water. I think that's what they called it. It had a lot of interesting things. Like there was the Doomsday Batman who made
Mm.
that the way
Oh,
that, yeah, that one was
he
good.
um he made himself to that, right?
Yeah,
So yeah.
because he was afraid of the Superman from his uh, dimension, because that was an evil version of what was that? Um, what was the alternate dimension that was pretty like popular? Um, of DC, where Joker kills Lois and a bunch of other people
Injustice?
in Injustice.
Well, that's what. Well, wait, where Joker kills Lois,
Yeah.
and then Superman kills her. No,
Well,
kills him.
no, yeah, Superman kills Lois, but it was because Joker had like tricked him.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It takes her to space where she dies, and she was pregnant.
Yeah, and then he kills Joker,
And then
right?
by putting his like hand through his chest.
Yeah, that's Injustice.
Yeah, in that dimension, an alternate version of that dimension, Superman turns himself and he makes like a doomsday virus, and he kills Superman himself. And then there's another one like the Batman that had like a godly armor from he was basically the Wonder Woman. He had like the helmet from the God of War. He had like all this armor. He looked old. He was like the only one that looked old. I forgot that one was called the Cyborg Superman. That one was sad. The Cyborg Superman. He made an artificial intelligence out of out of his what's his name? Well, Alfred.
Mm.
And then he combined himself with that artificial intelligence so that he would always be protected by Alfred. But then he ended up like going overboard and just what do they call it, murder machine or something, like the butcher, something ridiculous like that. They had some insane names. I think the only Batman that that was, I mean, they were all defeated, but I mean the only one that turns switch sides was the Red Death, and that's because that Batman was fused with Barry Allen. So all they did was like purify that Batman so that it would Barry Allen would be like in his own body again. So that was interesting. So he became the god of death. Jeez, so scary.
You like? What?
Huh?
What happened?
You froze.
Yeah, you froze on my screen too.
Yeah, you just stared at me. It was scary. I thought it was like a horror movie, where like you just freeze and they see tentacles coming out of your hoodie, like from the edges, and I'm like, okay, turning it off now.
Right, like what if you saw my screen glitching and then like the lights turn off in your room?
Wait, if your screen was glitching, but my lights
Yeah,
turn off,
yeah,
uh,
and then like it starts glitching and then the lights turn off in your room.
now you'd see me pull out a gun, like I got some work to do, man. Give me a sec. Same old every night. Damn.
You know. So
Yeah, but those
about
are other
you,
stories.
about you,
What do you mean?
the host.
The host?
Yeah.
I'm just a host. I'm just here to present and
What about you? Like what are your, let's say, like what are your dreams?
my dreams.
Yeah,
Oh, my aspirations.
yeah.
Um, I don't know, man. Just not be miserable.
Not be
I mean,
miserable.
that's because I do have goals, but they're not like, to me. A dream is something that's like nearly impossible to like
Mm,
get to. But when I think about it, like doing the things that I want are not. They don't feel nearly impossible. They just feel like difficult things, but not like, oh man, it's gonna take a straight up miracle for me to pull that off. Like let's say I wanted to be a doctor. It's like that would be very difficult, and that's a dream to a lot of people, but it is not impossible. Like
mm,
it's doable. Like, it just takes steps. There's a clear way to do it. You take certain classes, you pass them, you transfer. Uh, you take out a loan. The nice thing about being a doctor, though, is that you can afford to pay it back when you're set up. Um, I think that's what you mean in terms of dreams. I wouldn't call it a dream.
like
I think a dream is
something
like finding a girl, a nice girl. That's a dream. It's like that's. I don't know how to do that. That seems impossible. I don't know what kind of black magic I'm going to have to like do to pull that one off.
like is this podcast, is it something like that you're really like to work hard for it to get higher,
Oh well,
to get
yeah.
bigger?
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. Of course. No, yeah.
That's what I
Like,
meant, like dreams. Like so that's a goal? That's a goal
well, yeah.
from you?
Anything worth doing is worth doing. Like, right. Like
Mm,
if the podcast doesn't go anywhere and it fails, I need to make sure it's just because of a limiting factor that's not me. Like as long as it's not my fault, or if it is, like something like my way of presenting is just not interesting or something. Well, okay, well then I can try to change that, you know, but as long as it's something that's not completely out of my like realm of influence. But yeah, but something impossible like a dream is definitely finding a nice girl. Like that's the real magic trick, right? Unless you got it figured out, then oh, by all
Uh,
means, like educate me. I'm listening,
no.
man. You know, I should look for that girl that pushed that guy into the street for me. Track her down, be like, remember me? She's like, oh yeah, why do you think I almost killed that guy for you? Yeah, yeah, that would be the thing to do. But
So with this podcast, like, so how many times are you gonna post? Like once a week?
I think for now, once a week.
Mm.
It'd be better if I could do it more, like maybe twice, at least
Uh,
minimum.
Do you think you're gonna go big? Do you think this is gonna be successful?
Only if I get enough people to interview, because that's the problem. Like when the thing about podcasts is you need like fresh people to be on the other screen. The minute that goes away, it's like who's how you gonna be a podcast if you're it's just you talking? I'm sure there's some podcasts that might do that, but that's not. That's, I don't think I could do that. I don't got that kind of personality to ramble on for an hour. You need at least one person to like, even if it's the same person, but at least one other person to bounce ideas off and stuff like that. Or else you just have what, a monologue. That's horrible.
That's a
Horrible.
monologue.
Yeah, it's just 1 hour long monologue. That's horrible. But you know, but enough about me. Enough about uh I'm not that interesting. What you should be focusing on is yourself, man. When are you gonna pull that girl to make to make all your exes jealous?
Oh, man, now's not the time for that.
Now's not the time. That
No,
sounds like the
let's get
heck.
back to knowing the host, the one that we're gonna see every episode,
What are you, gay?
the one that's gonna be there, standing there, sitting there all the time. How? Let's say it does get like successful. Would you create any other content besides a podcast?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, if something if there's an opportunity to do to expand, then yeah, like that's that's the thing to do. You know, like put in that work. Like that's not that was all that's always that should always be on the table. Like
Mm.
you should always be willing to expand if you have the opportunity in the audience. Like that's you. Why else would you do this? You know, if it wasn't to like do more with it.
So
You've run out of
so
gas. You've run out of gas. That's okay.
nah, I know.
That's what
Let me get my
happens.
questions. Let me regain my questions.
Oh, you have questions.
Yeah,
I'll make them count.
make them count.
Yeah,
That's
make
what
them count.
a very busy man. Or
No, it's just you can tell a lot of a person by the questions that they ask.
mm,
You can tell where like their curiosities is. You can tell where their head's at.
damn, my gosh. So you're doing this.
I
So
mean,
actually, I have a UFC. What's your
that
predictions for that? The card.
well, I don't know about predictions because anything could happen, as we all learned from Ferguson versus Justin
Yeah.
Suhedo. As we like as that taught us, anything could happen. Like Ferguson, if I'm not mistaken, was still like the favorite to win,
Mm.
but dang, he just got wrecked. he got wrecked. Like doesn't matter. He once like well Ferguson lost so like undisputedly, like it was such a solid victory for Justin. Like there's no room for like like it was just a bad day. It's like no, he like stomped him and he would stomp him again if they fought again. Um, so anything could happen. I think right now what the UFC is focusing on and is what they should be focusing on is interesting matchups. Just interesting
Mhm.
matchups. Yeah, like right now they should do that, especially since like coronavirus has hurt them. I think pretty much.
Yeah, but a lot of fighters are mad about
Well,
their
yeah.
paying status.
Well, yeah.
Jones left. Well, Jones vacated his title.
I
Um,
mean, but at the same time, like UFC is not doing so good right now. Like, how can they expect to be paid like millions of dollars when like it's a struggle just to be open? And from what I understand, UFC did not lay anyone off. Like they're really good with their employees, and they keep paying them like through this pandemic. Even though they're not making as much money as they used to. From what I hear, they're just trying to keep the lights on, as they say. So like I can see Dana's perspective in that way. It's
mhm.
like it's like they don't got the money to be making like multi-million-dollar contracts right now. Because I'm sure he would if he could. Like who wouldn't? Like who wouldn't want to keep Jones, in there? Uh, like freaking I don't know what to call it. What's it called? Company? It's just a company, right? UFC is the
Yeah,
brand. The brand. Who wouldn't? He's I think he's pound for pound, right? Like the best fighter in the world, pretty much considered.
yeah,
I mean, I've heard he does like some pretty shady things, not drugs, but like the way he treats people. Like
yeah,
does some messed up things. And he seems like a nice guy, but that's why other fighters hate him. It's like you act like a nice guy, but you're a scumbag. Like you hit old people, like you beat up old ladies and stuff. Um, but that does not change like what he can do in the ring. Like when you see him fight anyone, he just crushes them. It's like okay, like he's not just he's where he's at for a reason. Like he can do the things that he can like walk out of UFC for a reason. I think Misfadal's also like didn't he recently like openly talk about his situation in the UFC like I can't renegotiate until I have my 7 fights down, but
yeah.
like
I mean, like,
seven fights is a lot of damage to take for the pay that I'm getting. Like he's like I don't think it's not worth it from his perspective.
mm,
Right, and for them to get paid and to be allowed in the UFC, they need a contract. So, and they need to finish their old one. So he needs to do like 6 or 7 of his like these amazing matches before he can even talk about like a new contract. But I mean, it makes sense that contracts are like that. I mean, they're really complicated. They're like these pages and pages of like fine wording. Like if it's Tuesday, July 6th of 1986, like then and only then will you get paid, the certain amount. It's like, okay, I guess that's how they're written. From what I understand, they're just complicated, and I get that the fighters are like trying to do better. I would too. Like it's not like they're unreasonable. Uh, yeah, the only thing and Connor didn't he just retire too?
I don't even know. I don't.
Right after like
That's annoying. Yeah,
didn't
Connor's
Silva
annoying.
didn't Silva just like challenge him too?
Yeah, Connor's annoying. He's being annoying.
Right after that, he
Yeah,
he saw that Justin's retiring. He's like, you know what, me too. uh, like it sucks. I actually wanted to see Connor like earn his way back to like everyone's good graces. But clearly he's not interested in that. I mean, I think he's one of the few fighters that's made like more than enough money to like
Yeah.
live comfortably for the rest of his life and then some, you know. And his grandkids are going to like live pretty comfortably. Um so from that perspective, I don't blame him. Like imagine living every day not having to work and just doing the things that you enjoy,
So if you were
non-violent
rich,
things.
how would you spend your money?
I would do my best to like beat Elon at something.
Yeah, it'd be Elon Musk.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what's it?
Because like Elon Musk is like he's trying to get us to Mars. You know,
Mhm.
he's trying to like invent new ways of transportation. You know, and he's the guy to do it. Like no doubt. Like if you ask me, like with Elon, I think everyone should just like get out of his way and just encourage him. You know, like he's trying to get us to Mars. You know, you're not gonna do it. Just let him do it. Like he's trying to do that. So I'd probably compete with something like that. Like invent like I don't know a new kind of like air. It's like yeah, you're used to breathing oxygen. We're gonna be breathing hyper oxygen now. It increases your lifespan, increases muscle mass. You're in shape without having to work out. Uh, you know, so I try to. That's ridiculous, but I would try to like do him at something for the betterment of humanity. You know, uh, like do like what he's doing with cars. Do it with like airplanes,
Mm.
or something like that. Because I've seen some interesting like proofs of concepts of like airplanes that like don't have to land, you know, because they don't run on gas, they run on like wind and solar. So like in theory they could stay in the air forever, you know, or for a really long time. And but the thing about space right now that I recently like saw a video on it, you should watch it, it's pretty good. Is that after a while it's going to be impossible. Like if we don't do it now or as soon as possible, we're going to lose the ability to go into space. Let me explain. It's because of satellites.
Mm.
Like there are so many satellites circling Earth that are dead. Like they're not being used for anything because you know a satellite becomes useless. Uh, it's more expensive to like take it down. So companies like phone companies, they'll just launch a new satellite, right? Like if there's like a technology, you know, like that's improved, they'll just launch a new satellite and then that'll take over what the other one was doing, and the old one just stays in space and it's just floating there. But that is happening so quickly right now that at some point there's going to be too many satellites in the sky. We're not going to be able to like leave Earth without like damaging, without you know the fear of damaging the spaceship. And it gets worse too. Like if one of those dead satellites crashes into like one that we need, like a cell phone one, uh, there's like a very good chance like that'll cause a chain reaction. Like if two of them crash and like all the debris flies in every single direction, there's a good chance like that debris will damage other satellites, and then those will explode and damage more satellites. So we could blanket the Earth in like uh, how do you call it, like a layer of like space trash,
Mm.
and then we're stuck here
Mm.
probably forever or for however long it takes for like their orbits to degenerate, or if we invent a way to like clean the area, the skies. So that's why it's like we should probably do it now before like you know before it's impossible, and then we're stuck here for forever for reals. But yeah, no, that's where I'd spend my time and money, like researching something cool. I, personally, though, if I was like really to think about it, I'd probably focus on genetic engineering.
Mm.
And I'm not talking about, even though it could be used for that, like improving. things like giving people naturally good eyesight, making people naturally strong and fast and good cardio, give people full beards naturally, but mostly to focus on like people with genetic, disorders. Uh, like that would be my first like focus. And the thing is, cancer is like a very genetic like oriented disease, to mutate its cell, right? um, so if we get like genetics down, then it'd be a lot easier to tackle cancer, if we can make genetic technologies much more cheaper, like because right now, the thing about cancer is like because it's genetic, it's very unique to like people, right? So if you make a medication for a person, a particular cancer, like it'll only work for the most part just for that person, right?
Mm.
Like because it's uniquely made for their particular like cancer. But if we can make genetics like easier to use, and maybe we can use like that sequencing technology to like fix anyone's cancer. It's like, okay, they have lung cancer. Let's sequence it real quick because right now it's expensive to develop medication. It takes like millions and trillions of dollars, just to figure out that it's not going to work for everyone. Because that's the dream, making a medication that works for everyone, not just like the rare cases. But that seems to be the case mostly. Like they make a medication and it's like, oh, we can only use this if it's a particular person, from a particular like race or something. That's not like a racist thing, but it's just like different races have different genetics, so different medications will have different effects, right? Like I think a good example is heart medication. People of African American descent, like their hearts suffer from like different like chemical balances, so they need to take different um, you know heart medications than like a white person or something. I think African Americans take like nitrates. I think that's what it's called. So point is, yeah, that's where I would spend my millions trying to outdo Elon Musk, but in that. And then when I meet him in person, we whip out our dicks and be like, "Nah, I did more," and I bring the ruler. It's like, "Nah, I did." It's like you got us to Mars, but I'm the one that keeps us alive in Mars. We'd bust out the measuring sticks right there.
What kind of house would you have?
Uh, I don't know. I don't think it would. Maybe I'm dumb because I'm like, I'm right now. I'm thinking I don't think it would matter too much,
Mm.
because when you have that much money, like it doesn't matter the house you have. No matter what it is, you can have it. You can have like six houses, each one designed for a specific mood that you're in. It's like today I'm feeling saucy. I'll head to my beach house. Like, or today I'm feeling like productive. I'll go to my city house. And like, so it doesn't matter. You can sell one of them by like, I think, at that point, you don't care. Uh, so I'm calling it now. I wouldn't matter as long as it's like has the things that I want. Like have a shower where the water comes from the ceiling, so it's like rain. Have
With
you
the
seen those? You haven't seen
Yeah,
those? Yeah,
I
those
think I
are
have.
yeah, those are sick. I'd have that. So, little things like that. Heated like marble floors.
Remember the toilet from How I Met Your Mother, Barney's toilet?
Oh, Barney's toilet. Yeah.
Yeah, where like goes down.
So no, yeah, no one poops in his house, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think.
Or his TV is like a wall.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, he's like, yeah, they don't sell this here. I had to order it piece by piece from like Japan or something. It's like, damn it. And he has a suit. The thing that I envy, that I admire about Barney the most is his suits, though. Definitely,
Suits.
yeah. He has a suit for every occasion, a tie for every mood. His suits. He even has like a sleeping suit just in case. You've seen it, right? Like that. It's like a night robe, but it's a suit. And like he sleeps in it like without moving, perfectly still, so it doesn't wrinkle. It's like damn. But yeah, that.
Did you see one they like they showed a picture of him water skiing in the suit?
No, I haven't seen that. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That was his resume video.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's real. There's like wetsuits that look like suits.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they look cool. If I ever like wanted to surf or something, I think I'd get one of those too. Like they look pretty legit. They're waterproof. They're tight. They're like they're wetsuits, but they look like suits. But more importantly, man, what are you gonna show me how? That's what I want to see the most.
What?
Because I've seen almost all the guys that we know. I've seen them all interact with girls. I've seen how they are. From Pablo to Israel to Chris. Like when there's a girl that they like, I've seen how they change themselves. You're the only one that I haven't observed in that like state. I'd like to see how different you are. Be like, see how vulnerable you get.
Oh, I have to wait more for that, Michael.
I can't believe I missed it all those years. I was just not even paying attention to anything that was happening around me. I swear, man. I just went to church. I didn't bother to learn anyone's name. Like, they'd be like, "Hey, Mike." I'm like, "Hey, so and so. What's up?" It's been a while, I believe. She's trying to pretend like you're still keeping up with people. But that was always entertaining. You don't enjoy that?
What?
I like being put in like dynamic conversations. Like when I'm pretending to know something that I have no idea about. It's like
No,
it's like yeah, no, of course. I've read
you
the
know,
whole book.
I kind of don't like finding stuff out about people. Like, doesn't when I find out stuff, I'm like, I wish I didn't know that.
Like what? Like, oh, that's a
Like,
weave.
huh?
Like, oh, that's a weave.
Yeah, like just like yeah, things like that, like or like a freaking because this other day I was in the chat and I didn't ask for anything. I didn't ask for any information,
Yeah,
and
already getting it.
then they just started talking. I'm like, yeah, I didn't want to know this.
All right, I'm a guess. So, boy, girl,
Will this be this will be
related.
cut out, right?
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
No, let me guess. That's the fun. That's what makes it fun. If you just tell me, there's so this is related to a boy, girl.
Yeah.
All right, never mind. I know everything.
Do
Then
you?
there's no probably I can
Do you?
I'm pretty sure if I said out loud what I'm guessing and I have no proof for this, I'd probably be like right. I mean, call me smug, but I mean, when's the last time I was wrong? That's right. That's right. That's what I thought. I mean, people are easy to figure out. There's very few people that I can't get a read on. Very few. Even now, like it's getting better. There's people that I couldn't get a read on before that I'm like, okay, I get it now. You're a chump.
Damn, man. Have you kept up with anyone from church?
No, just Pablo. He came by my house the other day and we played Yu-Gi-Oh and Magic. Um, that's it. I think everyone else, or Israel a little bit. Uh, uh, on Instagram, like on a DM. Um, Yeah, other than that, no, nobody. Yeah, like
Yeah.
going back to church, I'm gonna start treating everyone like strangers. Like, who are you people? What are you doing in the house of the Lord? Get out of
I
here!
thought,
You need to be baptized before you come in this. It's a, oh, you know what I have? Hezedel gave it to me before he left. I have the keys to church,
you had the keys to church.
to Fifth Street and
Yeah.
Rock. Yeah, because he could the quarantine started before he left, so he didn't have a chance to give them back. But
Mhm.
he came on his last night here, and he's like, just give these back whenever you can, and I still have them in my wallet. I know, right? It's a
So
miracle I
how was
have that.
that? How was your last time seeing? Was there like was there tears?
No, well, not for me. Let me just. But there's always tears.
Oh, was there tears on him?
Oh no, he was pretty like emotional to an extent, because like he's leaving, like
Yeah.
damn, like we might never see him again. We might see him in a couple months when he's visiting. You never know. And because when it comes to like joining the obra, like the labor, like that, and I think he's going in for his. I don't know if he's unconditional or not. Did he sign up as unconditional?
Unconditional?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Because there's two options. Like you can sign up as conditional, which is like 1 year, and then you have to renew it every year. Like, do you still want to do this? Do you still want to be here? And then the unconditional one, where it's just like your life. You're like, no, I want to be here forever.
Oh, I think it's conditional.
Send me to Africa already.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
when you sign
those
unconditional,
unconditional ones. Yeah, those
you're like,
unconditional ones. Yeah, they go to the hard places because they're committed. So they're like, all right, you want to go somewhere where it's basically you and maybe one other person. You know, it's the conditional ones. Those are the ones they spread out to just like the more English speaking,
mm,
more friendly places like the Philippines or I guess Missouri, or was it Michigan? Michigan?
yeah,
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 Michigan.
Michigan.
Yeah, Michigan.
Because his plan right now is just be there 1 year and see if he likes it, stays it more.
I wonder. I have man. I have a friend whose sister, two of his sisters joined conditional. One of them, I think she's still out there. I think she renewed her year, and the other one, uh, had to give it up. I think she got really sick and she was losing like weight, um, and it was like really unhealthy for her. She wasn't eating as much as she was used to, which you know isn't such a bad thing if you ask me, but okay, it's unhealthy. I get it to an extent. Like, most people you know diet and exercise to lose weight, and it's happening naturally for you. It must be nice. Um, but I get it. No, like that's messed up. It's not good. So uh, she got better when she came back, but she did not sign up. Didn't Who else left from San Jose? Was it Carla too, right?
Yeah,
Is her year almost up? I feel like it should have been.
I think it's up. I
And
don't know. Probably. Yeah, I think it is.
yeah, right.
Or maybe it's like it. I think yeah, I think her time's coming. Yeah.
I believe so. So we'll see if she. From I forgot who I heard. I don't know if it was from you or someone else, but I heard that she was actually like really enjoying it and was seriously considering renewing it for another cycle.
Yeah.
His keeps trying to get you to join.
No, I know. Yeah, I know. I know.
He's making that push, man. He sees greatness in you, I guess.
I know.
Do you feel it, or nah, not for you?
No, I don't. I don't feel it.
Like not at all.
I mean, no. I feel like I can't just go. Even though I do feel I have to be 100% sure.
Yeah, of course. Like
Yeah.
if there's like a 1% like doubt in you, don't go. Like
Yeah.
that's not. It's not for the faint of heart, as they say. Like, you're not going to be living luxurious. You're not going to live in a place where everyone takes care of you like you do in your house. Like your parents, you have your brother, sister. Yeah, dang. That's why. We surround. I mean, you're surrounded by your brothers and sisters in Christ, and they'll help you as much as possible. But like, you're expected, I believe, or I would hope so, like to be an adult. You know, to to know what to do in a crisis. Damn.
Yeah.
He was my ride everywhere though. I was like, who's gonna give me the rides now? Now I have to walk home. It's like my cousin doesn't always go to choir practice.
Oh, I know. You should take a car.
I have my own now.
But you can't drive it, right?
I mean, yeah, the tags are expired and it's not to my name
But
yet.
isn't it undrivable? Like they told you, like, oh
Oh,
no, you can't drive that.
non-operational. Yeah,
Oh.
because my friend doesn't want to pay the full tags.
Mm.
Uh, but I get it because it's cheaper, like to register it as non-operational. But she runs, all right. Like that's paperwork. Mechanically speaking, the car moves, and it moves good. I like driving it. It feels good. It feels manly because it's like V8. It's stick. Feels good in the hands.
You know what I never understood? When people buy those like Hondas, the old ones, and they customize it.
You're talking about real custom stuff, or just like a sleeper, or are you talking about those racers?
The racers.
Okay, that's not customized. That's like putting a sticker on your cell phone.
Like, or
Like,
they lower the car and they just add like stuff on it.
okay, that does nothing. Yeah, that's just.
Yeah. And they just like try to make it sound loud. I don't
Oh, it's so annoying. Those
yeah.
those people are annoying.
Like I could buy another car. Why would I want an old car? Waste that much money on an old car when I could get a better one.
I mean, but there's some good old cars, like an old. If you ask me, if you're willing to put in the time, like the Nissan, I think it's the 350 ZX. It's an old car, but it looks really cool and it runs really good. It hugs the road for its time. Um, yeah, a car like that, and you could probably, if you really hunt down for it, you might be able to get it for 4,000 busted, and then put another like couple thousand to fix it. And I would say that's pretty good. I don't got that kind of money to drop, uh, but I did have a friend who did. Damn, it was good, and it's an old car. Uh, and him personally, he would never buy like an old busted Honda and make it look nice. He like straight up likes to buy sports cars, and he doesn't like to fix them up like and add things that they don't have. He likes to keep them as close to stock as possible, uh, which I understand. Like there are some people that are just like, I just want this thing to be like to drive as it was meant to drive. And particularly with Mustangs too. From what I hear, like those cars are really designed to run like how they are from the factory. So like adding turbo or something like that really like is hard on them. Like you basically like you have a toy that's gonna break pretty soon.
Mm.
Unless you know what you're doing, like unless you're a car guy, like and you know your stuff, you know what you're doing, what she needs and how she needs it, then I'm like, okay, like you could get away with that, I'm sure. Like I don't know anything. You're basically doing black magic, like from my perspective, because I don't know that much about cars, just enough to not be too like stupid.
Have you ever been with a in a car with someone who likes racing,
Yeah,
but's bad at it?
no, thankfully,
No.
no. I was
Uh,
I was in a car with someone that liked racing and they were good at it. Like they would drift and not what's it called and do it like safely. Like I remember that I was a friend of mine. He likes sports cars. He took me to like this empty like parking lot, and he drifted around, and I was like, that's pretty cool. But I was like, but I mean, you're in an empty parking lot. like this is basically like a easy mode in the game. And he's like, okay. So we were on the street, and he needed to turn into this parking lot, right, from the street. But the turn was too shallow. Like he didn't open up enough to like get in. So
Mm.
he turns, and then he like drifts just a little bit to make the tail straighten out, and then he goes in straight. And it was like packed traffic, like car bumper to bumper. And he didn't hit anyone. He was like very precise about it. And he's like, "You like that, didn't you?" And I was like, "Yeah, that was pretty cool," because he did it so good, like and smooth, like he knew what he was doing. Uh, so him in particular, like he was really good. He probably still is. That guy is he's one of those car guys. I don't know how much he was in with like mechanical stuff, but he definitely knew how to drive, and he knew how to handle a car for sure. Like he he knew what's up. Uh, a douchebag though, straight up douchebag. Like uh, I had, and he's a douchebag, and not like not in like he's not messed up, like it's not like he drowns puppies or anything, but he talks mad crap, um, and I am forced, to 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 be the man that I was, all those years to defend myself, like I don't like talking, but it, it reminds me that your generation is sensitive for
My
sure.
generation.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
uh, when I talk to guys my age, we talk crap to each other and like
Mm.
hurt what you would call hurtful things, and it's just fun and games. You know, I think that's one of the main problems that I have in like talking to people around your age. I think it was Aileen who says like who said that I have like no filter, right? And I was like, what are you talking about? Like I have to like be very careful about what I say around all of you. Every word that comes out of me like is is uh is modified, so it is not too damaging, because I'm aware that you guys are too sensitive.
You haven't been unfiltered though.
Huh?
No, like he said you're unfiltered.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that.
I haven't seen it either, but apparently I do, so I had to clarify. Because when I talk to someone closer to my age, then I have to like, you know, talk a little rougher, like a like the like that friend. I consider him a friend. And he used to be a very good friend of mine. I don't know if he still considers me one. I don't really talk to him anymore or at all. Um, he, I think I don't know. I forgot what it was. No, he was calling me a bum or something like that. Like you don't have like your own nice car. You still live with your parents, and like you make peanuts for money. He was just like really digging into me,
Mm.
and I'm like, this coming from the guy who also lives with his parents. And he's like, yeah, but I have nice things. It's like, what do you think my money goes for? Instead of buying a car, what do you think like I spend my money? He's like, I don't know, man. You're probably in dumb things. And I'm like, yeah, I guess school is pretty dumb, right? Like, it's like we just value like different things. Like he's not going to school. He just works, right? And goes to church and goes home. And he works, from what I understand, like pretty good hours. So he can afford to buy these like really nice things. I
You know,
don't work full time.
Jerry tries to do that with me, or he
Oh,
tried that. Like,
he,
I'll insult him, then
mhm.
he'll come back and I'll insult him again. Then he'll come back with like, he'll come back with a bigger one. Then I'll come back, and then he'll be like, "Nah, fool, that hurts. That hurts. That hurts." Chill.
See,
Yeah.
sensitive. Yeah, no, I'm telling you, man. Uh, late, like, late. But with Jerry, I can see that he probably hangs around with people that are older than him. So
Mm.
that's probably where he gets the that kind of language. Because it's not. It's you know what that reminds me of an old saying. a man is never goes looking for a fight, but he's always ready for it. You know, like you shouldn't be like doing that to people like all the time, but you should always be ready for when someone does it to you that you can like respond. Like, you know, someone calls you gay, be like, your mom didn't say that last night. You know, like you got to be ready with a response, whatever it is. You know, and the more clever, the better. But sometimes I'm surprised. You know, like I look at people that try to like trash talk with me, and I look at them and I stare at them because I'm trying to figure out like um, if they know like what I'm capable of. You know, like it's like I don't know you, but like I can't tell if this is how you are and I have to put up with it, because I understand that some people are just like that, and if I unleash, like, then I'm the douchebag. It's like, why do you have to take it so far? It's just how he is, you know, all of a sudden, right? That's just how it is. uh, and I have to look at them and really be like, can they take the things that I'm capable of saying? You know, like, is this going to escalate to a fist fight if I if I'm not careful? Although there's some times when I don't care. You know, it's like, do something, like, do something. I want you to do something. I could probably take you and your mom. Do something. But it's very rare. Like you have to be like pretty. I don't know what to call it. Obnoxious for me to like stop caring about like social interactions, right? Uh,
Yeah.
but a lot of people like deeply care how they're seen, so they'll never like take it that far because they do care about like how other people see them. I noticed that for sure. Like a lot of the times people are bluffing and they're like, "You're gonna do something." It's like, no, man, or you know, like that's something that I hate. It's like I'm the uncultured swine for like not like for defending myself. It happens a lot. I think the worst offenders are like girls in particular. Like
Why?
I no, because I have seen like they will talk like mad trash the moment you say something like, yeah, but you know, you're ugly. It's like it's like you just basically insulted their whole family and their lineage
I know.
for like the next 5 generations. It's and like everyone around me like turns on me like, bro, you took it too far. I was like, what? She was like, yeah, she basically like it took a dump in my house, like on the floor in the kitchen.
No,
You
look,
know,
that's what like
it's like,
I'm in like I was in the chat and then there were how much? Two people in it, and those people were like they're trying to talk about me, and then when I wanted to come back bad, but like I don't like the moment I do come back, they're gonna dislike me. So I'm like, nah, I need to chill.
interesting.
I need to hold it.
So you cared about what they said about you or thought about you.
Hmm?
So you cared about what they thought about you, how they saw you. It mattered to you. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, like it's normal. We're humans. We're social creatures. Like
yeah.
we part of interacting with other people is how they see us. And reputation is something that's very difficult to fix once it's broken or tainted. Uh,
They're like they're trying to make me. They're trying to do two things to me. They're trying to make me seem weak,
mm,
and then they're talking about like crap about the things I like, my friends, and what I like to do.
interesting.
And I'm like, right, if I do come back with this, I know I know the moment I do, they like you said, they're gonna act like I insulted their family,
Right. All
and
of a
then they're gonna
sudden,
dislike me. I'm like, no, I rather not have that.
but yeah, that's part of life. Just finding that like balance between standing up for yourself. But at my age, I kind of stopped caring about like too much about that. It's like, no, see me like I don't mind being seen as a jerk, because it means that people will think twice before they like, try to be smart. But
And then
sometimes though, just cause.
the thing is like with like with church, and then like I will like if I do say it and then they do
Hmm.
start to dislike me, I'll be okay with it. But then sometimes when your mentors come or Santa Cena, then I'm like, damn, I shouldn't have done that. And I'll try to reconcile, but those people are like filled with pride, too much pride that they're like, nah.
Well, that's okay though. That's perfectly fine. The church says all you have to do is like ask, and you're forgiven. Like uh, you've done your part. Like
Mm.
if they don't want to like reconcile, if they don't want to forgive, like they deal with that with God, But you've done your end of the process. So that's fine. Like if they don't want to reconcile, they don't have to reconcile. You did your part. Uh, I try to not to let everything go so I don't have to get to the point of reconciling. But one time I wanted to know what it was like to reconcile, so I asked a friend like, "Hey, let's go reconcile." And like, but we haven't. I know, but whatever. Everyone's doing it. Everyone was like reconciling. And I remember afterwards, my mom's like, "Man, I thought he was like your best friend. Like, I didn't know you guys had something going." I was like, "Oh no, we weren't." Yeah, like yeah, because it just seemed like the thing to do, and I guess I was so young, I didn't realize like I didn't do any, I didn't have any bad feelings towards anyone to reconcile, but it seemed cool. And the brother that was taking the service, guilted everyone into doing it for no reason. So it seemed like the right thing to do. But now I'm older. Now I don't feel that kind of guilt anymore. Now it's like,
What do they do when you reconcile? Like, so you're with them, and then what happens?
oh, like what's the dance?
Yeah.
No, you just approach each other. You Bible, you damn, it's been a while. You I guess you kind of hug each other and you're like on your knees, like that, and you pray together, like so you can hear each other's prayers. Uh, and you're like forgiveness, you're asking like God, please like forgive me for holding, hatred towards like my brother in Christ. Like I offended him and I offended you. Like I am with my brother whom I have offended, searching for both, forgiveness from both of you, uh, and the other way around. You're not going to say something like, "Oh, my brother offended me, so I'm forgiving him right now," because that's such a right. It's such a douchebag thing to like say. No, and then when you get up, you give you each other the Oscuro Santo and maybe some words of like, "Don't do it again." Go back to your seat or look for someone else that you need to reconcile with. But yeah, so that's pretty much how I remember it going down. I haven't seen like some reconciles though in a long time. I should probably there's probably one person I can think of that I should probably reconcile with. Uh, but thankfully I never see him, so we're
Mm.
good. I'm good, or he's good. There's no danger of me murdering him at the moment. That's right, me murdering him, not the other way around.
Well, Michael. And I
Uh,
remember like last Aviamentos, I felt like I could like it took me because even Aviamentos before that, I would like feel it right away.
mm,
But in this one, I would have to work for it and then work to feel something. And then like I would feel it, but there's still like something like disturbing me. I'm like, and then what it was like, their names will come up on my mind, and then like and then I talk to them during those Aviamentos. I'm like, hey, like my bad for everything.
yeah. So you're just like, there's a disturbance in the force.
Yeah,
You just did it work?
yeah,
So after that, you just went Super Saiyan, and the next day
yeah.
you're just like, ah, that's interesting. No, like I get that too. Like Usually there's something in the way, but it's usually nothing like that I have against someone or someone has against me. I'm usually just thinking of like, man, I did all these bad things, and even if I had already like confessed them, I still feel like the presence. It's like I don't quite feel what's the word worthy. I would not be able to lift up Thor's hammer if I had if I was in that situation. Would you be able to?
What?
Would you be able to lift up Thor's hammer if you had to?
Of course, of course.
Of course.
Yeah,
Why? What makes you so confident in your worthiness?
I'll do it how Captain America did, where he could lift it up. Is like, nah, I don't want to make him feel bad, and he didn't. But
Wait, that never happened.
in Age of Ultron,
When Captain America was gonna lift the hammer.
yeah, like everyone was trying to lift it, and then no
Oh,
one like, couldn't. And then Captain America, he like moved it, and Thor got
yeah.
scared.
No, but yeah,
And
no,
then
but
the directors are like, oh yeah, he could have picked it up, but he could have just didn't want to make Thor feel bad, something like that.
I don't. I think he was just saying that. I don't. In that moment, I don't think he could have picked it up. Just in that moment in particular, I don't think Steve Rogers was worthy just yet. Um, although in this last speaking of this last movie, this last phase, the Infinity phase, they got rid of like a couple of Avengers, right? Obviously, Tony Stark, Captain America, Black Widow. You know, they just like ended all these characters, so we'll never see them again unless they have their own spin-off or a cameo or something. Um, and they're starting the new generation, right? Which is Spider-Man, Peter Parker, Tom Holland, and he seems to be like the new Iron Man, right? Like the one's going to lead the team. I don't I don't know. Have you seen the new ish heroes?
Um, I know. So it's She-Hulk, Miss Marvel. That one doesn't interest me. Miss Marvel. That one doesn't like.
I was gonna say like a lot of these heroes are like very physically based. You know, like they're just strong.
Yeah.
Like they're
Eh,
this because the first generation we had Tony Stark who was like tech. You know, his thing was like he makes machines and robots and they were cool. You had Doctor Strange who like did magic basically like you know that was his thing like you had some heroes that just did something that was different than the rest of them um these new ones like they're not they don't feel very inspired, you know, they don't feel creative or
I know
interesting.
Blade. Blade's coming.
And what
X-Men.
oh the X-Men, if they can get
Yeah.
the X-Men, yeah, they're full of like interesting heroes. I mean the best thing that's come out that's X-Men related, the best. I'm not saying it's the only good thing because I Days of Future Past was pretty good.
Mhm.
No, Deadpool, like
Yeah.
what little X Men like references they have, pretty good. Like damn, like I want to see that. I want to see that version of the X Men uh, in the Marvel, and hopefully, you know, because Disney owns Fox now.
Mm.
Um, I hope they keep letting Deadpool be Deadpool.
Yeah, that's what they said they're gonna do. Like,
I hope so because it works. Like
yeah,
just leave it alone. Uh, I really hope they don't like Disney. You know, Disney do its thing where it's like you can't curse, you can't have people dying. You need to have Lion King in the background. Like, what kind of trash is this?
don't you feel like the Mandalorian was like kind of like Disney testing the waters for like more violence?
No, the Mandalorian for sure was Disney testing the waters for Star Wars stories.
Mm.
Because the problem with Star Wars is that a lot of people are complaining is is that the Skywalkers are boring. It's like we saw the best of that story already, and we want something new, right? And anything interesting that they have, they refuse to explore, right? Like like the whole like Kylo Ren, being trained as a Jedi, completely skipped over, right? Like it's a flashback in one movie, and that's it. Or Luke at the peak of his like Jedi power, doing these incredible Star Wars things. I think in the comics, Luke at the peak of his power, he was able to like create stars, like crush Imperial cruisers with just by like looking at them, and using the Force to like crush them in space. Like he could do these amazing things. We never saw that in like any of the movies. It's like what what do what did they think, like why did they think that we would be interested in like seeing another someone else's story like start from scratch, like it works in a prequel because obviously you're looking back in time and not everyone is going to be as like OP as they are later on, but if you're moving forward, it's like they should have just ran with it, man. They should have just wanted to see Luke like push a planet, and break it in half, by like focusing and doing this. And then you see the planet in space, like and you see like a giant tentacle monster coming from the core of the planet, and you're like, yeah, that thing's been like a scar on the Force ever since I could sense it. Like I needed to get it out in the open, and you see Luke creating a star around it, and and killing it. And it's like, oh my god, just these amazing like prophecy level like things. That's what I wanted to see, because in the comics that he was something else, but instead we got like story about Ray.
Yeah.
That's
Didn't they make it so they so all the comics about Luke Skywalker, Luke, they're like, nah, that's not canon, huh? And then
yeah,
they made Rey the strongest now.
yeah, that's exactly what they did.
Yeah.
And honestly, the best part of the first sequel, was it seven, Star Wars 7,
Yeah.
uh, was the ending, because that scene of Ray like handing Luke like his old lightsaber. They made it look like the next movie was going to be something else. I was like, oh right, like Luke is about to show her like how to work the Force. Like I wouldn't mind. I don't care if Ray was stronger. I just, but I wanted to see Luke uh, help her get there. By showing her like what's possible with the Force. Like like this is what I can do. Like you should be able to do more than this when you're fully trained. And he creates life in space or something. Some ridiculous
Yeah.
like that.
I remember
I got
that
none
scene
of
in the
that.
movies. Like, cause I went to the movies
Hmm.
with my cousin when that came out. And then the moment when when Luke turned around, everyone started clapping.
Yeah, because that was it. It teased what could have been a great trilogy. It's like, all right, we're getting like real power, like levels. Like we're we're not talking about like because what sucks about if you ask me, this new the new trilogy was they ha- people who are writing Star Wars have absolutely no idea how to manage power escalation.
Hmm.
Like they have no like they had no idea how to reset like the power scale to at least make it like make sense that everyone is weak and that like Luke is weak. Like yeah, no. What's a good example of resetting the power scale? Dragon Ball Z. uh, the creator Akira Toriyama is really good at 'cause whenever an arc ends and the character is like super powerful, like at the end of the Frieza saga when Goku was Super Saiyan, he uh he had one of the best transitions into the new um arc, right? The Android and Cell arc, right? At the beginning of that arc, we had a couple things. We had Trunks um, beat Frieza easily, right, by going Super Saiyan. So right there, we saw that we had a measuring stick, right, which was the bad guy from the last arc, who was defeated easily, and then Goku with one finger like played with Trunks, and while Trunks used his sword. So we saw like a good measure of like this is where they are in power, this is where they are now, and then Trunks talking about the androids, right? You're like, okay, so this is where they got to get to. So we knew where things were, and they were pretty consistent for that. In Star Wars, they weren't. Like everyone became useless. Luke was he was not Luke. Like Luke is supposed to be the hopeful guy, He's like, we can do this. Like he didn't even give up on his father, like Darth Vader, who had been like evil for years, murdered like hundreds and thousands of people by like choking them with the force, cutting them in half for no reason, like just evil for years. And even then Luke was like, nah, there's still good in you, you're still Anakin. And he was right. But then we got this Luke that's like, there's no more, the Jedi need to die all of a sudden. It's like, what? You're not, this isn't Luke. Like, who's writing this? That's why I hate Ryan Johnson. Was the idea of bringing in a new director wasn't half bad. I wish it would have been someone else. Like Ryan Johnson is not a bad writer, but he is a terrible Star Wars writer. If that makes any sense.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Because I saw
Jesus, I
I
would have
saw
much.
one of his movies and it was good.
Yeah,
Looper.
yeah, he's good. No, he's good. He
Yeah.
knows how to write. Like he's not dumb, but he's just not good at like. I guess Star Wars is just not his thing. I would have preferred to see the J.J. Abrams trilogy to see what he was going for, because you can tell in the third movie that like he had to cram in everything that he wanted in the second movie into the beginning of the third, and then skip a lot of the things to make the third movie be conclusion. Um, but again, like I said, it's not even that I minded they killed off some treasured characters. Like that's like I get it. They're trying to like start a new story, but the way they did it was just not good. Like I wish that in the second movie where it ended with Luke like fighting as a projection in like another planet and then he dies.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that was pretty cool. I wish the movie would have started with that. Not Luke dying, but I mean Luke doing that and like flexing, some of that force power. Ray being like impressed, and Luke being like, "Oh, like that's nothing," like that was just me playing around. Like that's child's play compared to what the force is really capable of. Like that's what I didn't like. It's like the power scaling was just Luke is not a chump. This would not have killed him. Like if this was the Luke from the original trilogy, but I'm not a writer. Maybe what the hell do I know? I'm just some guy. I'm just like literally, I'm just some guy complaining about it like everyone else. Uh, but a lot of the blame goes on Kathleen Kennedy. Do you notice that?
Kathleen Kennedy.
Yeah,
Kennedy.
yeah. She's like the lady that's pretty much in charge of everything Star Wars.
Why? Why is it like?
She's like Kevin. You know who Kevin Feige is?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's Kevin Feige, but for Star Wars.
Is she like? Wait, why do you blame her? Is she like pushing like an agenda or?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. She's because she's the head of like the Star Wars division. She
Mm.
she has a lot of power in like how the movies get written, how they're produced, like the kind of stories they're trying to tell. But the biggest argument in like that helps her out is that Kevin Feige is like a Marvel fan. Like that's why his movies are so much better. Like for him it's like a dream come true, like a dream job to be like in charge of Marvel, like making these movies. And Kathleen Kennedy is not like a Star Wars fan, so she doesn't get it. She doesn't. She doesn't understand like what Star Wars is about. If you ask me, that's defending her. Like I think some people see it as like an attack, like oh you're talking crap because she's a woman or something. It's like
Mm,
it's not about that. Even if she was a man and she was making these decisions, they'd still be bad.
mm.
Like a bad idea is a bad idea. It doesn't matter who it comes from. It's a bad idea to treat Luke like that.
Do you know who I think what's her name? Anita is? Anita, I've had her last name, but she's the one pushing like agendas in games.
Oh, Sarkeesian.
Yeah, her.
Yes, I've heard of such things.
Yeah.
Yeah, she seems really terrible.
Apparently she's the one that helped on The Last of Us.
That explains why it's so
So,
terrible.
yeah.
Um, I saw like some guy defending her. Like his perspective is that she's trying to do the right thing, but like she gets in her own way. Like maybe she is, but no, she's still terrible. She's still terrible at anything having to do with what's the word, media.
Hmm.
Like because games are media and all that. Like because a game is different. A game is a story. It doesn't care about uh gender inequalities, like for example, I'm sure someone like her would hate like God of War, because like the one like Kratos' wife dies like before the game begins, and it's basically just two guys. It's Kratos and his son, and Baldur's the main antagonist. Like, uh, what's his name? Mimir is a guy. Uh, the sons of Thor, Magni and Modi, again two guys. Odin, a guy. Like, pretty much every main like antagonist and good guy, bad guy, it's a guy. It's like that's a very male game, you know. Probably why I like it so much. Like it's manly. It doesn't care about like uh was it gender equalities. And Frey is a good character. Like she's not a pushover. You know, she's she's probably gonna be like the main bad guy in the next game too. And seeing as
Oh,
how
she's the one. She's was the
Odin's
mom, right?
Odin's
The one that gets
ex-wife.
mad at the end.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like she's probably gonna be the bad like lady, the bad guy from the next movie, the next game. And with good reason. Like Kratos killed her son, like so she has a great motivation. Not evil at all. Like I think anyone who loses a child, right, and has the power to get revenge is gonna try to do it. But then again, Baldur deserved it, man. He was such a douchebag. Like just no regard for anything and anyone. Uh, he definitely needed to be put down. Like I don't blame Kratos or Atreus for like doing that at all. Damn. Like he wasn't evil. He was just messed up. Like just so messed up. Like he had problems. Uh, I can tell you haven't seen the Midnight Gospel, have you?
No.
It's on Netflix. I'm just saying, just watch it, man. It's really good. Like it's really good. So someone just took a podcast that they liked and just made a cartoon around them. It's,
I saw some of it. It's like yeah, because it was like I didn't see like the whole episode, but I saw some of it. So it was just like a cartoon podcast,
yeah, he's making a podcast.
and like the characters are talking, right? Because when I was watching it,
Yeah, yeah, it's a conversation. It's like a
yeah,
podcast.
with just
Yeah,
with like animations going on,
yeah.
yeah.
Like in the first one, uh, like in the Real World podcast, it's I think it's a doctor with Duncan Trussell
Mm.
uh interviewing him, right, podcast style. But in the cartoon, it's still a podcast, right, with Duncan Trussell. His character's name is Clancy, and the Dr. Drew in this cartoon is the president of the United States, and they're fighting their way through like a zombie apocalypse.
Mm.
It's pretty entertaining. Like
Wait, really? What episode is that one? That one sounds interesting.
it's the first one. It's literally
The
the
first
first
one?
one. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, they're all interesting. Um, but yeah, like and it's really interesting because they'll be talking like perfectly calm conversations like about like legalizing marijuana or drugs, and like they're having these really like precise discussions, like, well, the problem is, is the use of the marijuana. You see, like it interacts this way, and as they're doing that, they're like shooting zombies like around them, like
Mhm.
savages and things are happening. Uh, yeah, they're all good. There's My favorite is definitely the last one though. The last one was really sad. It's like damn. No, no, the last one is with his mom,
Mm.
his real world mom, and it's his mom in the show too. But what's sad about it is in the real world, his mom died.
Mm.
She had cancer. And that podcast was done like a couple of weeks before she died. So
Mm.
like, and they play into that in during that particular podcast too. So it's like, oh damn, that was rough to watch, but really
So it sounds
emotional.
like their last conversation.
Yeah, it sounds like a normal, like even toned conversation, perfectly calm. Like it's really interesting to see them work through like these post-apocalyptic. They're all post-apocalyptic worlds, by the way, all of
Mm.
them. Uh, it's interesting to see them work through these worlds while having like these calm conversations about like interesting topics. Sometimes it's death, magic, like like witchcraft. That one was interesting too, though. I gotta admit, I usually don't think stuff like that is interesting, but the conversation was like, oh, okay, so that's all. Tell me more. That one was interesting.
And
So
I really like those when a movie or a game has post how do you say it?
post
About
credits.
post what you just said right now, post apocalyptic.
Yeah,
Yeah,
post-apocalyptic settings.
yeah. Like those like they immediately grab my attention. Like Mad Max. Um
I Am
yeah,
Legend,
yeah.
like that. Yeah, that's interesting. Uh, I'm more of a fan of epics.
Mm.
Like God of War is really epic. Like climbing mountains, that touch the heavens, uh, beating up gods, uh, stuff like that. Like Clash of the Titans. Liam Neeson, though, by far, he can make anything into an epic. I swear. Like him as Zeus is one of the best like castings, I think. uh, and there's this like the scene that always comes to mind of just how like badass Liam Neeson is as Zeus is there's a scene where Zeus is chained up, and the chains are like absorbing his like godly energy, and it's his brother Hades who's like responsible for it, right?
Mm.
And you can see Hades is like feeling guilty about it because like that's his brother, and Zeus is kind of like apologizing for condemning Hades to like live in the underworld and all that, right? For like not really treating him, even though it's his older brother. And he's chained up and beat up, right? And he's been beat by like his son, Ares, I think. And Hades is like, why are you asking for forgiveness at a time like this? And then Zeus responds, because I forgive you for this. Like just that. I was like, damn, that's what's up. Like,
He voiced the dad in Fallout 3.
that makes sense. Freaking tough man, tough
Yeah,
guy.
like I think the his opening line is the That one thing. I am the Alpha and the Omega.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Damn. I have I have Fallout. I should have noticed that. Speaking of Fallout, you know who voices the? I think it's for Fallout 3. The monologue, the war never changes.
Um.
Ron Perlman. Yeah, Ron Perlman. He plays the first Hellboy.
mm,
Uh, he has like the best bad guy voice I think I've ever heard. Him as the Lich is by far, I think, the favorite I've ever like seen him. He has like Anthony Hopkins level of lines. Like he says these really epic one-liners, sometimes little speeches, and his delivery is so epic. You're like, man, yeah, no, like he's so evil. You almost respect him for it. Like he's not petty at all. Like in Adventure Time when he's voicing the Lich, he'll say things like uh like I think Finn was like criticizing him like oh you're hella basic, like you always just want the same thing, like you're boring, you're not even interesting. And the Lich, like he plays into it. He's like, you're right. Like he says something like I am the ceaseless wheel. I was around before creation itself. Like I have one function. I am the last scholar of gold. Gold is like like it's like the only thing in the universe that can erase everything. Uh, but the way he says it, it's like, man, he's something else. Like he's beyond a regular bad guy, that just wants to like be rich, take things over. No, he's like trying to end like life as we know it because that is his function in the universe. Like Galactus from
mm,
Marvel. Like he doesn't eat planets because he's evil. He eats planets because like he's hungry. He needs to eat them to survive. So that's the Lich. Like when when Finn was attacking him, he just tells Finn like fall, and Finn falls, and he's like, "You're strong, but I am beyond strength." Like I am the end. Like I will sell the stars. I will sell to every light in the sky is extinguished. I was like, damn, that's that's real. Like that's a bad guy who's so evil you kind of like him, just because he's
mm.
epic. He's epic. Like he's not trying to kill you because he hates you. Like that's just his function, which I can respect and admire. Like like from Westworld, Anthony Hopkins. Like my favorite line for sure is that mistakes one. Though I'm waiting for the perfect opportunity to use it. I think I sent it to you when he talks about
Yeah.
mistakes. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm waiting for the perfect opportunity. Imagine if I say it right, like it'll work. I'm pretty sure. I'm sure if anyone says it, as long as you don't butcher it, it'll get the desired effect. Like you should test it out.
Dude, so you should test it out.
Yeah, you should test it out. Like next time someone catches you, like I don't know, like let's say something happens, like you drop something, you break something, like you basically commit a mistake. Just bust out the speech, or, like mistakes. Humans have been like moving, like have moved forward with one tool only: mistakes. Like look at the first car; it did not have seat belts, right? But little by little, mistake after mistake, hundreds and thousands of mistakes, we have progressed, whether it be in automobiles and everything in life. So part of being human and progressing is mistakes, which means that you'll have to forgive the occasional mistake and then walk away. It's like, yeah, but
Like
pick it
without saying
up.
sorry.
Yeah,
Without saying
without
sorry.
saying sorry. Yeah, just or cleaning up or anything. just walk away. You're like, damn, leave them speechless.
Imagine being that guy, the overly philo, I can't even say the word.
Philosophical,
Philosophical. Yeah,
overly
yeah,
philosophical.
yeah.
Yeah, I would love to be that guy. You could get away with anything, and,
Like let's
people
say like
and people wouldn't know what you're talking about.
like
They'd be like, "What?"
use
Like,
it when you're like eating or something.
right? Sustenance, right? Like, use it for everything. I would. Um, I was looking up the other days a bunch of Greek quotes, like, and they all read like that. Like, it is preferable to chase a probable impossibility. No, an improbable impossibility than a probable possibility.
Mm,
You know what that means?
but
It's better to like try the impossible than to do what everyone's already accomplished. Like,
that's
right?
cool. That's
I
pretty
know,
cool. Yeah,
right? Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. Or this other one that says uh, only like what's it called, what the difference between a good captain and a bad captain is that the good captain has sailed through rough seas. You know, it's
The
like yeah, like the only way you know you're good is because you've done something that's difficult. You know,
mm,
it's like damn. I was just reading a whole bunch of them. I'm like, that's pretty cool. Like,
how would you use it? Trying to pull someone.
trying to what?
Trying to pull someone.
Or trying to pull a girl.
Yeah, you like
It depends on the situation. And I would not use philosophy in that case. I would just try to be as confident as possible. Like if I see a girl reading a book, I'd be like, "What are you reading?" Let's say she's classy. She's reading Pride and Prejudice, right? I'd be like, "So you're familiar with two sins? Want to make it a third?"
that.
And then just sit and like you have to have a straight face. Like the moment you like crack, the illusion is broken because your thing is confidence. So you sit next to them and be like, like, let's get out of here, or like, let me take you out. And if she says like, uh, I don't know, like I something, right? Like I'm not here for that. And then you respond with, well, you're wearing the wrong dress, something like that. You're wearing the wrong outfit. Like you got my attention type. So now do something. But that's how I would do it if I had the opportunity, because something like that would require an opportunity. You can make an opportunity, and you would also have to calculate like, if you fail, how do you care about how many people find out that you failed? Like, let's say that
Yeah,
like, right, like let's say
yeah.
that it happens in Alameda and it failed. No one from San Jose went, right? But so many people know each other. By the time you come back to San Jose, everyone knows anyways, and you're like, damn. You gotta be ashamed for a while, as long as it takes, right? But if you succeed, then the opposite like happens. Then you're a legend before you get when you come back home. It's like, bro, you pulled it off. I heard. Like you pulled let's call it the Don Draper. If you ever get a chance to watch Mad Men, it's another one of those amazing shows. The one of those little speeches, the end of season one, it got me. Like it clearly got someone in the that was in that scene too, but because he's an advertiser, right? So he comes up with advertisements, and the company that invented the what do they call it? The slideshow? You know how it's like a ring with a bunch of
Mm,
pictures in it? Okay, yeah, they invented it, and they come to his company, right? They're like, uh, help us sell this. And the company came with like the wheel. Like they wanted to market it as like old technology, like made new again, right? And Don Draper, what he does, oh my god, it's so good. Uh, he's like this. He the way he does it, like first he introduces like the idea. Give me a sec. It's a spider, and I don't want it around my face when I'm asleep. Um, he starts the slideshow, right, using the slides. I forgot what it's called, the projector, right? So he's using he's using their product, right, for the presentation already. You can tell like the psychology, and he's like, when I first started working in advertising, um, I was with an old pro. He was Greek, and he gave me some advice. He said that new scratches an itch, right? And once you scratch it, you're bored with it. But he told me about something deeper, nostalgia. He's like, it's more fragile, but more potent. And he starts the playing slides of him with his family, right? Don Draper with his family, and he's going through them, and they're like personal slides. Like it's him with his kids, um, when they were born, when they were babies, and he's like nostalgia. Uh, it's a Greek word. It means two things: pain from an old wound, right? So nostalgia doesn't just remind us of something; it gives us a longing, um, of a time and place, where we want to go back to, you know, where we know we are loved. And as he's saying these things, you see pictures of him with his family, right? And we'd like to go back to this place the way a child does on a carousel, around and around, again and again. And he's like, this isn't a rocket ship. This isn't new technology. It's a time machine, right?
Mm.
And then he finishes it on like the slide of like the day he got married with his wife.
Mm.
And like one of the guys on his team like starts tearing up and leaves like the presentation. uh and yeah, like he gets their business. Like they had like another advertising company lined up for like a meeting, but like they weren't going to top that. Like I'll see if I can track down the scene on YouTube and send it to you. It was like I'll watch it every now and then just to like remember when I want to convince someone of something. That's how I should do it. Like make it emotional. Like remember, emotions convince a lot more than facts.
Mm.
Even though facts should be like more convincing, emotions are always going to win. Like emotions let you overlook facts. It's worked on me. You know, I I think I used to think I was pretty like, oh no, I'm reasonable. Yeah, but then looking back, it's like, man, I got played. like like with like that meme, the presentation. In conclusion, I got played.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that. I was like, damn, no. So it works when done correctly. And that scene is probably the best example of it done correctly. Uh, I'm probably gonna try to see if I can like watch it so I can get a better feel for it. Like when I watch something, be like, what you're asking for is the same thing I'm asking for. We both want to be loved. Say it like that. You know who else did that? Robert from The
Robert?
Office. Yeah, from The Office. Robert California.
Which episode?
It was when they were replacing Steve Carell, because he had left, so they were getting a new manager, and they were interviewing people, right? And Robert California, like the boss that he is, he's definitely my favorite. He like sits there, and it's Toby, Jim, um, and the guy from Saber. Damn it, tall guy,
Gabe.
Gabe. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's Toby, uh, Gabe, and Toby, Jim, and Gabe. And he came from selling deep sea drilling equipment, right? So Toby's first question is, um, like, why? Like, how are you going to go from selling millions of dollars of deep sea drilling equipment to paper? And for like the way he looks at Toby, he's like, "You're not a salesman, are you? I can tell. Because if you were, you'd know that it doesn't matter if you're selling millions of dollars of deep sea drilling equipment or paper. Don't be a fool. What you're selling is the man. He wants to be younger. He wants to be loved. He wants to be virile. There is only one truth in this world: sex. You know this, right? You know that this is an absolute truth." And he's nodding as he's saying it. And Toby starts nodding too, like he's agreeing with him. And then he looks at Jim, and then Jim's like, "How would an interaction between you and a subordinate look?" Right? And then, Robert California, like a boss, he's like, "I know what you're asking. Will you be heard or will you be steamrolled? The illusion is that being steamrolled is up to the steamroller, but it is in fact in the object. And I can tell from this interaction, you won't be steamrolled, right? You may answer me." And Jim, and he's like nodding slightly, so Jim answers like yes. Like it's funny because he commanded him to answer him, so you're like that. So then he moves on to Gabe.
Wait, did he say something else? It's like you answered. That was your choice, not mine.
Oh yeah,
Wasn't
yeah, yes, yeah. He says, "You may answer me," and Jim says yes, and he's like, "See, that was you answering, not me. I didn't make you answer. Yeah, like I did not make you answer. You answered me of your own free will." And then Gabe is like, "What is a man of your time? You think you're overqualified?" And then his answer was good. It's like, "Do I look like someone that'd be wasting my own time?" He does like that head like side thing. It's, from that moment on, I was like, he's my favorite. Like, and every time he introduces himself to someone that's new, like a presenter or something, he introduces himself with like a different name. Robert, he'll be
Mm.
like, "I'm Jonathan Kazamakis. Nice to meet you." Like something. That's why when I think it was Andy like was threatening him, he's like, "You don't even know my real name." I was like, badass. Like that's what I should be telling people whenever they're trying to ruin me. It's like, bro, you don't even know my real name. It's Michael, isn't it? You think I'd give you my real name? Like, just to play along with it. And it's like, but you gave that name to that girl that you just met, and you believed me. Just play with it. Just go with it. Um, damn. That's what's up. Robert, California.
All right, then, Michael. I have to take my pill and have to sleep. So where's this gonna go? It's gonna be posted on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go. Give me one second. Well, it was nice having a conversation with you. I
Are you gonna cut
hope.
some parts, or are you gonna like put the whole thing?
No, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm gonna edit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I also need to get practice with editing.
Mm.
Like,
So what's it gonna be called?